show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? This is hour one of Jon and Jim with you for the next 3 hours, reacting to a Padres win yesterday where Manny Machado sets the franchise record for home runs. Did you mention that in the update?
Yes, Jon.
Okay, thank the Lord. I wasn't listening. I was about to go off.
I have it right here.
Let me see the update.
In my update.
By the way, I'll tell you what you screwed up in your update if you'd like to know. Brent has it now. You're like, oh, the Mets were getting no hit until the ninth inning, and then the Blue Jays scored 7 runs and won. No, the Mets scored whatever runs and won.
Oh, I meant the Mets. I said
I said Blue Jays.
You know the crazy thing about that Blue Jays guy that had the no-hitter, though? They said that this is the second time in his last 4 starts that he's lost a no-hitter in the ninth.
Chris Bassett.
All right, whatever. But
the Blue Jays lost to the Mets.
So the Mets
6-2.
are putting pressure on. Arizona is going to win here today. The good news is the Padres did win yesterday. Manny Machado, the home run. Fernando Tatis Jr., a home run. The Padres are going to go for a sweep here later on tonight in Seattle. That's the most important thing here. We could talk about Machado. Awesome. Credit to him. He's had an amazing year. Second half. He's had an amazing second half. The home run record is quite an accomplishment, but what matters more than that, like the home run record to me isn't going to matter if they lost last night in Seattle. Like that to me is not going to be some crowning achievement when the Mets are winning and the Diamondbacks are winning and you would have been like a game up on a playoff spot. These other teams are keeping the pressure on. There'll be a time for the individual accomplishments. We can celebrate Jackson Merrill winning Rookie of the Year. We can celebrate Manny Machado. You're Mr. This record doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't. Well, here's the thing. And I didn't say it didn't mean anything. I didn't say it didn't mean anything. I think
you called it an embarrassing
I said
record.
That this record needed to be broken because rest in peace, Nate Colbert, but 163 home runs for a franchise leader, that is a record that needed to be broken in the worst way.
Did you use embarrassing in there?
I don't remember if I did. I don't think I did. I just said it needs to be broken because they were by far and away a franchise with the least amount of home runs to have for a single player for the franchise.
Wait, so by saying that, you think the home run record is more important than the win last night?
No, but there's 2 things to talk about. Yes, the win matters the most, but you can't just gloss over what Manny Machado has accomplished here.
I didn't.
In
I said
the Padres uniform.
No doubt. I'm gloss over.
Well, you're like, hey, he got the home record. Okay, back to the standings.
No. You feel the exact same way. I
feel a way about it that I'm glad finally it is done. Mm-hmm. I'm glad that finally nobody in this town has to talk about this anymore. And finally, the home run record all time for the Padres will, in the end, be a very, very respectable number because Manny Machado is going to be here for a long time.
Here's my point that everyone's going to agree with, even the most ardent Manny Machado fan. Is anyone going to be calling each other's friends October 1st if the Padres are on the outside looking in, but Jackson Merrill's the Rookie of the Year and Manny Machado is the franchise home run record? That's inconsequential in the grand scheme. The only thing that matters is them not just making the postseason, but hopefully making a run that they've never done previously. That's my overall point. And last night, in addition to Machado, you got the things you want to see. Darvish is important. He went 5 innings. Fernando Tatis Jr. is important. He had arguably a bigger moment than Machado in terms of the ability to win that game last night. 3-run home run, trailing 2-0 was a big moment for Fernando Tatis Jr. And your bullpen did what it's done a lot, which was hold down, a relatively large lead. But I'm just saying that I want to see Tatis performing his first home run since June. I want to see Darvish back fully healthy. He goes 5 innings. And I want to see the Padres win. And that's what happened last night.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm concerned about.
I want to see it all. I wanted everything to happen. I wanted Manny to break this record. I want Manny to continue to put up 30 and 100 every season for this team. And at the end of it, he could probably be in the 300-plus range as a Padre for home runs.
End of his career.
Yeah.
Not this season. That would be a record.
No, that would be
huge. 16 games.
Could you imagine?
He's hit 100 home runs.
It's like, what? He's on a tear. He's the best player in baseball
ever.
But the 50-year mark of this home run record set by Nate Colbert back in the 70s.
He said it the 6th year of the franchise.
And Nate Colbert
It stood since then.
was here for, I want to say 6 years. So he's doing kind of on pace with what Nate Colbert has done or did do with the franchise back in the 70s.
He's done it in less plate appearances, but yes.
And it's wild that that record stood for as long as it did. 50 years of a franchise all-time home run mark of 163. That's crazy.
It is, but don't you also agree, like, in the grand scheme of things, like, think about the other great accomplishments in the history of the franchise individually. Name them. Tony Gwynn's 3,000th hit, Trevor Hoffman's save total, right? Things like
batting
that.
Average,
single career accomplishments.
Yeah.
Those are all
Gold
wonderful.
gloves,
Those are wonderful. Those are wonderful.
Titles.
But they don't hold a candle to winning as a team at the highest level.
I agree with you there. Yeah.
Like if they end up winning a World Series, and I mean they got a long way to go, but if they end up winning a World Series, I mean the 164 is way down the line. I mean everything goes way down the line when you win as a team, and that was always my point on if Jackson Merrill's Rookie of the Year, but you're not in the postseason. I'm like, I'd rather have him finish 9. I think he feels the same way. He's actually said that to the media. He's like, his exact words, I think, are, I could care less. He may have even cursed in there occasionally. I just want to win.
Right. And no, I agree with that. But I'm also acknowledging, like this record finally done. We don't talk about Nate Colbert anymore. Rest his soul. Like it's now about the future. And what's really cool, and I mentioned it last night on the wrap-up show, is a lot of these records, other than Tony and Trevor, not that great as far as a franchise goes. What we're watching right now with these players on this team and going into the future, a lot of the players that you're watching are going to set franchise marks for, home runs, hopefully one day wins, because right now the win total leader is at 100 for the franchise all time. You're not touching Tony's stuff. You're not touching Trevor stuff, but like there's a lot of things as far as franchise marks go that you're going to be watching with this team and these players break, because Manny's going to be around for a long time. Toddy's going to be around for a long time. Jackson Merrill will be around for a long time. Joe's here for a while. Like you're watching history in real time with the franchise for individual marks, which is really cool. And hopefully it coincides with winning as a team while these records and stuff are going down, like we saw last night with Manny.
Yeah, and maybe it's just me. I'd love to hear from people. 70470 start it with team, or 877-767-4760. And maybe this is putting it a little too bluntly. I don't care about the individual accomplishments. I never have as a sports fan. I've never sat there as a fan of my team and been like, he's got the franchise record for rushing yards in a season. We went 7-10. I've never once thought about that as something that's going to be celebrated and discussed. What's celebrated and discussed is winning at a high level. Memorable summers as a sports fan don't involve Ichiro's 244 hit year. I'm making it up. They involve Ichiro winning 116 games for a team that makes an ALCS. Now, that was disappointing because they didn't make a World Series. When I think back on my childhood, I'm not thinking about individual records at all. I'm thinking about team accomplishments solely. The best sports memories of my life are based on team success. 1998, I have no idea what records were set in 1998.
Stop. Yeah, you do.
I know the win total.
I have a bobblehead to commemorate all of them.
No, I don't know if someone hit 49 home runs or someone hit 50. I know they ended up in the World Series. I don't care if Greg Vaughn's hitting 50 home runs if they go 78 and 84. I literally could care less.
The home run race in 98. You don't remember that?
I'm talking about Padres.
Oh, I'm talking.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm.
I don't. Of course, I know about the home run, but the home run race. Okay, that's great. That was an amazing moment.
Tony in 94, 394.
Actually, yes, and then the strike. Yeah, right. Great.
For me, I'm a big records guy for not the team, but for like all of the sport. So the home run record in 98. Single season home run record, the chase between Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa, that to me resonates more than any team accomplishment that season.
That's not my point.
Okay. My point. Are you just talking about Padres players?
Yeah, no, I'm saying when you're a fan, like maybe
Oh.
you're a Chargers fan, maybe you're a Padres fan. Is your most memorable season as a Chargers fan when Phillip Rivers set the franchise record for passing yards, or when they went 12-4 and went to an AFC title game?
Well, franchise marks
or 14-2.
Franchise marks. I kind of agree with you. They kind of go over your head as long as the team wins. Like if the team loses, like no one's sitting there be like, oh man, remember when Peyton Manning broke the Colts franchise record for passing yards in a season? But I do think records for like all of the sport, like, oh, Peyton Manning breaking the total touchdowns record for a single season for whatever. And I'm not saying he did. I'm just using him as an example. Like Tom Brady setting marks for most passing yards in the history of the NFL, or single season touchdown passes.
If Manny Machado is sitting on 760 career home runs, it's a completely different conversation.
Yeah, and I think that's where
you're talking about baseball immortals.
I'm talking about records for the sport. So I thought you were going there.
No, it's like, okay, I mean, Benito Santiago won Rookie of the Year. Like, is that your most favorite memory as a Padres fan growing up, Padres fans? Is the year that Trevor had the franchise record for saves? If it was like, I'm asking the question. I think it's a very legitimate question. Like, do you remember 1998's team accomplishments more than individual accomplishments, either from that season or a previous season?
I do think that when you're asking about records from Tony and Trevor and whoever else, right? If those teams suck, then fans have that to hang on to.
No doubt.
You know,
you're hanging on to that, but I'm just saying it's not as tangible. You don't grab onto it the same way. Like the city grabs onto a winner, the city being all cities. Mm-hmm. When the Niners make it to a Super Bowl, it's a different accomplishment than when Brock Purdy sets the franchise record for passing yards.
I think if the team wins and they win big, and that season there happens to be players that break franchise marks,
it's extra sweet.
It's extra sweet. You're right. And people will remember team success more than individual success. But I completely disagree about if a team is not good and there's a player during that season that accomplished something as far as like a great year or breaks a franchise mark, people will remember that way more than what did the team do that year? Instead, like I think that,
I mean, give me the prime example of that.
Well, Jake Peavy winning a Cy Young. Now the team was good back then, but
I mean, Blake Snell winning a Cy Young, I didn't hear anyone talk about it all offseason.
I think people
it's not resonating.
We're so upset with that season because of how many expectations you had.
But I mean, did that resonate with San Diegans? Blake Snell's Cy Young, has that been celebrated as an accomplishment?
I'm sure with Padres fans, it resonates, but not to the level that you're probably referring to.
619 says, I've been a fan of the Padres since the 80s. I never even knew up until recently what the home run leaderboard looked like for the Padres. Win a World Series.
Well, I mean, I get it, but I'm not saying that's everybody's opinion either. I'm saying that.
No, not everyone's. I agree with that. Not everyone's. I'm just telling you, my opinion is, I'm being blunt. And I mean, the 164 means truly nothing to me. It means something to me if they win as a team. And honestly, I feel like Manny Machado would say the same thing. Like, what's he going to be remembered for here? Hitting 164 or winning a World Series? Like, nobody's ever going to think about Manny Machado hitting 164.
Oh no, I think they will.
They will?
I think when it's all said and done, you're going to know what the mark is for franchise home runs because it's Manny Machado.
True, but it could be. I mean, it won't be 164. Hopefully, it's 359, and then maybe Tatis hits 402, and maybe Jackson Merrill hits 404.
Whenever 404, whenever Machado is done. That number, people will remember for sure because it's Manny Machado, and he'll be here for a decade plus, hopefully with a World Series title and maybe an MVP or World Series MVP, whatever. I do think those records mean something for fans for sure. It depends on who the player is.
Maybe who the player is. All right. I said something last night that I'm going to repeat here on the other side regarding Manny Machado. I want to hear Jim's tune on that. On the other side, plus Justin Allegri, voice of Cal Athletics. He'll join us at 4:30. We'll talk about San Diego State and Cal coming up here on Jon and Jim. All right, hey guys, it's Jon and Jim, and typically the best time of our day, in theory, is when we spend 3 hours together on the show. But today, before the show, guess where we were? Hamul Casino, Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, spectacular place. If you've never been, you need to get there. Really is well located. If you're in Mission Valley, if you're downtown, it's easy to get to. And this football season, you need to get there. Every Monday in September, you've got a chance to win big. Monday Night Live, $100,000 punch out.
Yeah, the Tony Gwynn Sports Pub is the place to be. I had a Slam Diego burger today with some garlic fries.
Huge.
It was massive. Wait for that to come out on our social media pages. But go to Hamul Casino. There's 10 winners every hour, 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and 9 p.m. Your odds are better than ever. Plus, there's entries all month long playing. You're getting 2-time entries every Tuesday with at least $500 cash for all winners. A chance to win up to $100,000 in cash. Get to Hamul Casino right now.
They're not kidding when they say they have endless dining. You can trust us. We were just there. The food's incredible. They have it 5 nights a week. Their endless dining options include Saturday surf and turf buffet. They're going over the top with perfect combinations of succulent steaks and delectable seafood. I had an amazing Asian salmon salad earlier today. They've got everything you could possibly want over there.
Speaking of Asian salad, they're opening up a new restaurant called Emerald's tomorrow.
That's right.
So check that out when you go to Hamul Casino. Get to Hamul Casino. We're all football season long, including every Monday night for Monday Night Live. $100,000 punch out. Hamul Casino, it's fun above all else.
All right, Padres Mariners game 2 coming up at 6:40. The Padres have made a move or two today that has kind of been referenced. We've discussed this a lot. Like, what is Luis Campusano's role with Elias Diaz up? And he's been optioned to AAA. Martin Perez was not supposed to start today. He's on the paternity list. This is now Michael King's start. They were already slotted to use King, and they've also recalled 2 pitchers. Lefty Tom Cosgrove is back, and actually an outfielder, Brandon Lockridge, is up as well from AAA. So Cosgrove is here, Brandon Lockridge, the outfielder, is here, Martin Perez to the paternity list. Luis Campusano is down. I mean, all indicators were that they were heading towards Diaz as the backup catcher for this stretch run and the postseason. And now it's as clear as day because the organization has optioned Luis Campusano.
They're not messing around, with the lineup they had yesterday. I'm assuming that this is going to be the lineup for the rest of the year, just interchanging between Diaz and Higgy. And there's no what's the word I'm looking for? They're not worried about their feelings during this time of the season. Hey, Campy, I know you've been here with us all year, but we are putting the best team out there. And right now we just feel like you're not part of the best team. So sorry, we're going to put you down to get some playing time in El Paso because you're probably not going to get it up here with Diaz and now Higgy behind the plate. So
right.
Yeah, you can't worry about people's feelings at this time of the year. It's about putting the best team out there to win. And good on them for doing this because it did need to happen. Luis Campusano is not making the postseason roster, and he's not going to be out there. It's going to be Diaz and Higgy.
Yeah, Luis Campusano, by the way, since the 1st of August, was hitting 163. So he just hasn't produced. He's hit 1 home run since the 1st of August. He's had 3 RBIs in 56 plate appearances since the 1st of August. So he goes down. And you're right. I mean, this is all set up now for the stretch run. I think the reason Michael King is pitching today on 4 days rest, he had been pitching at 5 and 6 days rest, is that there's 16 games left. And these are games that you have to win. These other teams just haven't gone away. Like you even look at it today, Jim, and the difference in the loss column earlier in the week was 1 game. Right now it's 2 games. So yeah, they're in a better spot than they were maybe a day ago. But I mean, they still have a magic number that it's not like they could just cruise in here. You're not going 4-12 and making the postseason. You're going to have to earn your way in, even with the way they've played in the second half. Diamondbacks winning today. Mets in comfort behind fashion, like we talked about, getting no-hit win today. In Toronto, we'll see about Atlanta later on, but you can't leave it to chance. You just got to win these games, and hopefully they can do it again behind Michael King, who's been awesome in the second half. He's been awesome all year, but he's been awesome in the second half.
Yeah, he's been great all season long. He's probably their most consistent pitcher this year. Not probably, he is. He's been there besides the first couple outings for him. He's been fantastic. I remember that start early in the year in Milwaukee. I think it was the 2nd or 3rd week of the season. Took a no-hitter into the 8th inning.
I do remember that.
He's been fantastic. So big start tonight for him. Big start tonight for the Padres because with Arizona winning today, with the Mets winning today, or Arizona about to win today, they're going to beat. They won?
No, I've decided because they were up by 8 runs?
Yeah, they're 14-4.
I think they're good. I think they'll hold it.
I think they're gonna win.
Yeah.
So now they will be tied with the Padres, and if the Padres lose tonight, then you flip flop, and the Padres are back as the 5 seed. Arizona's at the 4 seed, and the Mets will be a game and a half behind you.
Right, and you're facing a guy that's got a 2 ERA.
Mm-hmm. Now, last night you faced a guy that was probably one of the Mariners' consistent pitchers.
But all their pitchers are good.
Yeah, last night to me, with what Tatis did, we haven't even talked about what Tatis' game last night because it's been all about Manny Machado, and rightfully so. Before the Manny home run and his RBIs later in that game to kind of open the lead up, like I tweeted out last night on social media, it was the Fernando Tatis Jr.
Yeah,
exactly. The outfield assist, the 3-run home run, he was doing it all last night. And he, as I put it on social media, he can bust out a 3-run homer or an amazing defensive play. He's such a weapon anywhere on the diamond for this team, defensively, on the base paths, at the plate. And that's what you're going to need, is what Tatis did last night for you.
So if the Padres don't win tonight and Atlanta wins, like you talked about earlier, their margin is a game and a half.
Correct.
Think about that. So that's how important this is.
And truly, it's a half because the Mets have the tiebreaker.
No, it's a game and a half because you'd be a game and a half better than Atlanta. You'd have to be passed by all 3 of those teams.
So Atlanta wins, they're tied with the Mets.
Yeah, so you'd still be a game and a half up in a playoff spot, but consider that. I mean, you're facing a guy with a 1.5 ERA at home in Brian Wu, and if you don't win it, this is a complete dogfight. It's crazy to say it. The team with the best record in baseball in the second half is in a complete dogfight to get into the postseason. If they didn't have that 19-3 stretch, I have no idea what we'd be saying about them right now.
You know what? it's weird looking at these standings, but then watching the team play every single night and their record in the second half. You know what it feels like? It feels like watching an NFL game where the Niners, like Monday night, right? They're up 16-7 at the end of the first half. But by just watching the game, you're like, they should be up by way more than this. And obviously they ended up, blowing them out there. But that's how I feel when I'm looking at the standings, then watching them play. I'm like, they should easily make the postseason, right? Like,
I agree with that.
They've been playing amazing. They're the best team in the second half record-wise. They are the most complete team in the Preller era. The weaknesses are very few. But yet then you're right. We look at the standings here and you're like, dude, one bad weekend, it's going to be a problem. That's just how I feel. I feel when I watch the team, I feel so confident. And you look at the standings, and you're like, wait, what the hell?
Yeah, I'm not, to be honest, I've said this a lot. I feel good about where they stand, so to speak, but I'm not overly confident. Like I go back and forth based on what they do that night. And if they win tonight, I'll feel really good about where they are. If they lose tonight, it's a complete, I don't know, neck and neck race essentially to get in over the last 2.5 weeks of the season.
And real quick, how things are fluid here with the with the Dodgers losing 2 in a row. Phillies have just won 2 in a row. Now the Phillies have the 1 seed and the Dodgers have the 2 seed. So season ended today, right? You end up falling somehow to the 6 and the Dodgers stay at the 2. Then that's you would go Milwaukee, LA. But if you stay at 4-5, Dodgers at the 2, you go Arizona, hopefully at home, and then Philly.
And if the Dodgers surpass the Phillies, you could still do the whole West Coast path of maybe staying at home in San Diego against Arizona and then going to LA for a 5-game series.
So this thing,
nobody has any idea.
So
it's
up in
wide
the air,
open.
it's fluid, it's wide open. Yeah.
All right, on the other side, again, I referenced it earlier. I'll get to it on the other side. Something I said last night that I want Jim to react to. Plus, really remarkable comments from Jim Harbaugh today, right here on San Diego Sports 760. The Herd on San Diego Sports 760. You'll hear from the head coach of the Chargers coming up this hour as well on Jon and Jim.
This update is brought to you by Taco Bell. Last night, Manny Machado set the all-time home run mark for the Padres, passing Nate Colbert, hitting his 164th home run with the team. They beat the Mariners 7-3. Yu Darvish picking up the win. Game 2 tonight, 6:40 first pitch. Michael King on the mound for the Padres. And a look around baseball right now for games that matter to the Padres. The Mets beat the Blue Jays today 6-2, and Arizona is up big on Texas. Actually, that game just went final. They beat the Texas Rangers 14-4, and the Braves take on the Washington Nationals here in about 15 minutes in Washington, D.C. The new Lux Cravings box from Taco Bell with cheesy, crunchy favorites, chips and nacho cheese sauce, and a drink for just $7. Try it today at participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only. While supplies last, price and participation vary. Drinks exclude. Freezes, taxes extra.
All right, Justin Allegri, voice of the Cal Bears, San Diego State Cal, coming up Saturday night, 7:30 from Memorial Stadium in Berkeley, California. Justin Allegri will join us at 4:30 as Tech's Week 3 game. Cal's 2-0. They won at Auburn this past week on the play. So it's coming up at 4:30. We will get back to Trainwreck Radio. We have Hosier tickets. Kristen was listening to it on like a Spotify playlist, Take Me to Church. And I said, "Oh, yeah. Like a dog in the That was pretty good harmony.
That's good.
Yeah, not too good that we won't get copyrighted.
Exactly.
It turns out he's just a guy.
He's a guy.
Well, no, I thought
Everyone's
that was
just a guy, Brent.
No, but I thought that was the name of the group.
Like a 16.
yeah, like a Maroon 5 or something. Yeah, I thought like that.
His name.
Yeah, I didn't know that was.
What did you do?
just a
The
dude.
deep dive or something?
No, Fletch told me.
Okay,
I had to ask a young person.
yeah, he
Young
is
and
kinda
Well,
young.
compared to you and me, he is.
I mean, we're not.
I'm a young
80.
person.
No, you're not.
Compared to us, he
you're young.
is.
Yeah, you're always
Fle-
35.
Fletch is younger than me by like
A lot.
He's like 9.
Correct.
No, is he 30?
I don't even think he's 30.
I don't think he's either 30.
I
I
think
think he's like
he-
28, something like that.
Yeah, him and J-Riff are like around the same age.
I think J-Riff's younger than Fletch.
He is
Yeah, he is.
by a couple years. I'm like
This is
I'm like
great.
I'm like the middle child of this station.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, I
Yeah.
can see that. Yeah,
Yeah.
you definitely are. You are. Anyway, we have tickets to see Hosier, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. The show is sold out. It's Saturday night. We'll give those tickets away during Trainwreck Radio. So I said something last night. I didn't even allow you really to react to it because we're talking about the Padres win and Manny Machado's home run record.
Oh, here we go.
And I think you may change your tune, but maybe not. I said Manny Machado now, almost like everything I said earlier, forget about it. Because I said now that Manny's got the home run record, and now that he's going to be here 10 plus years, and now that he's going to hit 300 plus home runs here, and he's going to go into the Hall of Fame as a Padre one day, he will get a statue outside Petco Park. I truly, honestly believe it. I'd be very surprised if one day Manny Machado didn't join Tony Gwynn and Trevor Hoffman with statues outside Petco Park. I'm not saying it's the only or the next, and I don't know where Peter Seidler may work into there or others that have played for this franchise or what's to come. But do you disagree with that? That Manny Machado will one day have, no matter what happens with the team success, Manny Machado will one day have a statue outside Petco Park.
If he leads a team to a World Series, gotta like be in the Hall of Fame, obviously. Gotta have, I think, at least one MVP under his belt. Maybe he doesn't need an MVP, but I think he needs to lead this team to a World Series 100%. And he needs to be like the driving force. If he ends up winning like the World Series MVP and they win their first world championship in franchise history, Manny Machado's on the podium holding the trophies.
He just
And
needs to be you think he needs to be World Series MVP?
dude, if they win a World Series and Manny Machado in that World Series, it's like 110.
Yeah.
And he doesn't win a regular season MVP. He only makes 3 more All-Star game appearances.
So the Padres are going to win their first World Series in franchise history. He's the all-time home run leader, which you were celebrating 30 minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
And we were also saying, it's like we've changed our tunes. You were saying the team accomplishment. Okay, now he's got the team accomplishment of the World Series. Now he's got the individual accomplishment. And he's still not getting a statue?
I stand by what I said months ago, is that you got to go above and beyond to earn a statue.
Above and beyond, they've never won a World Series. Above and beyond, the captain of the team that wins a World Series for the first time in franchise history and has all the individual accomplishments and is a Hall of Famer is not going to end up with a statue?
And he hits 110 in that World
Who
Series?
cares?
I care.
Nobody knows what Derek Jeter hit in the 1998 World Series. No one.
He needs to go above and beyond. I stand by that. I'll always stand by that. Tony and Trevor went above and beyond. They have awards named after them.
Right. What World Series did they win?
Well, here's the thing, John. They brought them to a World Series.
Yeah. Well, what if they win a World Series?
And
Is
they
that not better?
hold records in baseball that Manny Machado currently does not have.
What record? Remind me of the Tony Gwynn record.
Well, they hold marks in baseball. Trevor had the save record until Mariano broke it.
Right.
Tony is Mr. freaking Padre.
But remind me of the baseball record.
I'm telling you what they've done above and beyond that Manny has not done
just
it
went
yet.
above and beyond the franchise record for home runs.
Yeah,
you were just
100%.
telling me that 30 minutes ago.
Okay. He is not getting a statue, in my opinion, until he goes above and beyond with accomplishments for this team.
Whew.
Right now, this moment, he's getting his number retired, but he's not getting a statue.
No, at this moment, not. But you're changing your tune because you even just said if they win a World Series, but if he doesn't hit in the World Series, so he's got to hit in the World Series to get the statue.
I mean, if he wins World Series MVP, then yeah, give him a freaking statue tomorrow.
Like almost like begrudgingly is the way you say it.
No, not begrudgingly. That is something that is above and beyond.
But if Elias Diaz wins World Series MVP,
Well, then great. I'm not giving a statue to Manny because of it.
but you're not giving it to Elias Diaz, right?
I'm not giving it to Elias Diaz either.
Manny Machado and 70470 started with team. I think you're willing to die on a hill.
Now it might.
That is a
Look, I am coming from a
very high bar.
I'm coming from a standpoint of like other franchises in sports standards.
No, I don't think it's a low standard. If you're a Hall of Famer with the franchise record for home runs here for 15 years and win a World Series,
Why
when you've
doesn't-
never won a World Series?
Why doesn't Dave Winfield have a statue here?
Well, you just went down the path of all-time home run leader for a franchise and winning a World Series. I don't recall Dave Winfield being the all-time franchise home run leader or winning a World Series here. So those would be two clear distinctions.
He went in the Hall of Fame as a San Diego Padre,
He didn't play for the Padres for 15 years, did he?
but
Did he win a World Series with the Padres?
your definition of is he doesn't even have to win a World Series. He gets a statue.
But you said with the World Series he wouldn't get. I agree. I agree. I don't think he has to win a World Series.
And I'm telling you, there's players in this franchise, not a lot, but they've accomplished what you are saying needs to be accomplished to get a statue, yet they don't have statues.
Disagree.
How so?
Dave Winfield doesn't have the franchise record for home runs. Dave Winfield didn't spend a decade here.
Come on, 164, 163.
But you and I are both forecasting him to hit 330 here.
Okay, even
You know what I mean?
330 around baseball is still like.
But it's not
middle
just
of the pack.
330 for his career either in that
If he
example.
hit 500 home runs with the Padres, that's different.
Right, fair, but that's also not his fault. That specific argument, the fact that he came up in Orioles farmhand. I don't know. I mean, I think it's a really fascinating conversation. I have a hard time believing.
This is nothing against Manny Machado. I'm just saying, like, the standard to get a statue for a franchise has to be a pretty damn high bar.
I think it's a high bar if you win a World Series.
And
or
we
here
all
for
love
15
Manny
years and have the home
Machado.
run record.
We all love Manny Machado, and he's going to be here for a long time. And hopefully he does win a World Series here, and he is a World Series MVP, or he does win a regular season MVP, and he does set a lot of franchise marks in for this team, right? But until that happens, right now, like
It's not a right now conversation. Nobody's saying his career is over. Sometimes you got to be willing to look into the future.
Yeah, and I gave you like this has to happen in order for this to happen, which is what you're saying. No matter what, he'll get it, even if he doesn't accomplish most of those things.
Well, I don't think it's watered down at all. If this guy ends up hitting 300 plus home runs as San Diego Padre, nobody's hit more than 163. Plus, he spends 10 plus years here. Plus, ends up in the Hall of Fame with 3,000 hits and 500 home runs.
I think
his career.
100% Manny should have his number retired whenever he is done playing by the San Diego Padres. He will go into the Padres Hall of Fame. He will most likely, I think it's kind of almost a no-brainer the way his career is going. He'll be in the Hall of Fame, Baseball Hall of Fame. But like, I mean, the Padres have multiple players in the Baseball Hall of Fame, and they don't all have statues.
But Manny Machado, Manny Machado, I'm saying, is more deserving than other players that are in the Hall of Fame with the Padres hat. And I'll give you the reasons why. Winfield's not going to hit near the home runs in a Padres uniform that Manny did. And Winfield didn't spend 15 years here.
I'm not saying it's never going to happen. I'm just saying that in order for that to happen, there's still a lot of work to be done.
Work to be done, yes. Work to be done.
Like,
I don't think he needs a World Series MVP to get a
I'm not saying that he'll never get a statue here. Like, I hope he gets a statue here.
Okay.
You know why? Because then it means that he went above and beyond. He accomplished so much here, and hopefully it's topped off with a World Series. And then, yeah, of course, dude deserves a statue 1,000%.
I just said that, a World Series. But you said he had to hit in the World Series.
I said above and beyond.
Oh, above and beyond in the World Series.
Above and beyond and a World Series. What?
Let's hear from Jim Harbaugh on the other side.
John, have some standards.
Standard 704770 start with team.
Give a statue to everybody.
Give it to everyone. Manny Machado's not everyone. You're completely downplaying his significance.
I'm not downplaying his significance. I'm just saying.
Give a statue to everyone. This franchise, in the grand scheme, he's going to be up there, Jim, right at the top of most offensive categories. He will. He will.
I hope he gets a statue. I really do.
All right.
I really no. I'm serious. I hope he gets a statue.
We're going to hear from Jim Harbaugh coming up next. All right, Justin Allegri, voice of Cal football, will join us at 4:30. San Diego State and Cal Saturday night, 7:30, right here on San Diego Sports 760 from Berkeley. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, I know what I was going to say. Hit us up with the talkback mic. Just open the free iHeartRadio app. Listen to San Diego Sports 760 and tap that little microphone icon next to the play button. So leave a 30-second talkback. Thoughts on Manny Machado and his statue.
I have a question.
Yeah.
How much sleep did you get last night?
Bring in the water thing? But I didn't bring water from my place. I want to take it home. Right? Because I can use this in my water. So, you want to tell the story? I mean, just Jim starts talking about the smell outside where he lives. So Imperial Beach, right? The problem is the stink there at times is awful. And it's toxic. And it's not just me smelling something. Sometimes people are like, oh, what's that smell? You're like, I don't smell anything. No, this is the whole city.
This is the whole city up into Chula Vista. It has been a major problem down there for a while. I have found out.
I think it's about 50 years.
And yeah, it's a while.
Somewhere in that half century.
That's a good amount of time. And I have the neighborhood app on my phone.
Okay.
And almost every single night I get notifications, 10 to 15 to 20 notifications from people being like, anybody smell that? It smells horrible. It smells horrible. It smells horrible. So last night on our wrap-up show, I don't know how we got into it, but we started talking about the smell down in Imperial Beach. And then I proceeded to mention how I can't even drink the tap water down there because the tap water has so much bad things in it, like I don't know, iron, and just it's just not good for you to drink tap water. And John's like, wait, you don't drink tap water? I'm like, no, it's horrible for you.
So I've spent 44 years by and large never drinking anything other than tap. Now, Jim, and then everyone in the chat freaks out that's the craziest thing I've ever heard in my life. I was some crazy person. So, of course, in me, I'm the hypochondriac. So I bought a Brita overnight on Amazon.
I made John spend money last night.
It arrived at 8 a.m.
Yeah.
And I haven't yet used it, but I also haven't had much water because I didn't want to use tap water last night after I found this out after 44 years. And then you have this water, what is it?
So
tester.
We bought, when we first moved to IB, we didn't want to use the tap water because it was really bad. So we bought one of those testers out and we tested the water and it's horrible. And so it tests the water to see how clean it is and any toxins are in it. And then what we do is we have in the break room here, a water dispenser, a water cooler, right? So we bought a water cooler from Walmart, and every 3-4 weeks I replace the water from Walmart, and it's 5-gallon jugs, and it's $7 to replace, and it's actually clean, healthy water. And you were freaking out, do I have to spend thousands of dollars to buy this new water stuff?
Yeah, right. So then, but the long and the short of it is I said two things. I said that I'll buy a Brita. I've made it 44 years. So again, it's no guarantee that you're going to end up dead. And then secondly, I knew that, listen, Kristen absolutely is the absolute best, but there's some certain hard lines she's going to draw. Kristen, for whatever reason, does not want us filtering water. What? She's like, it's a waste of money. It's like a problem it's fake problem.
Now, here's the thing. Del Mar water from the tap might be fine. And
I don't know.
I'm probably living in a area where it's tap water bad. And I just think that everywhere is like that. But maybe Del Mar's fine. I don't know. You're going to test it out tonight, and you're either going to be
test it out, and then we have a wrap-up show, so we can do it live on the wrap-up show.
Yeah, you're going to be mortified about it, or you're going to feel fine.
Honestly, I mean, was I freaking out a little bit about it? Yeah, I was, but I slept fine. But I haven't drank much water today because I don't want to drink tap water anymore.
So in the chat on YouTube, a bunch of people are chiming in. For whatever reason, filtered water is a hot topic with people. Everyone wants to chime in.
Why does my fridge not have I have a nice fridge.
But there's certain fridges that have the filter tap, and
mine doesn't.
Yeah, because your fridge.
And just get a new fridge. I'm like, that's not cheap. I told Kristen this morning, we wake up, I go, I bought a Brita. She's like, why did you do that?
It wasn't that expensive.
It's almost I told her am a convicted criminal. I mean, I just want
But Brita.
What do you mean? I'm like, do
You
we have?
idiot.
I'm like, do we have the shower head? Because Jim was also telling me that
Yes.
the shower head has to be filtered. I'm like, I've never heard that in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, no. And this is her line. Kristen goes, it doesn't impact men. Why do you care? I'm like, what do you mean it doesn't impact men?
Like the water
She's
only
like,
impacts women?
Only impacts women.
No.
That's what she said.
No, it
She
impacts
really
it.
believes it.
Kristen.
Let's bring her on.
So in the chat, Nick says that's appalling, John, but not surprising.
Why? I'm like the biggest hypochondriac.
Bannon says, I'm 37 and I only drink tap
Thank
water.
you. We're both alive.
Matthew says, I live in Carlsbad Village and the water is okay, but I still filter.
I'm curious to get Brent's opinion on this.
I know Brent doesn't care.
I have a Brita.
Yes! Let's go, Brent!
But do you use it religiously?
Yeah,
Why
But-
do you have a Brita?
because tap water tastes like crap.
Yes!
So it's because of the taste, but not because of the health quality.
Both.
No, I didn't even know there was a health thing to it. I just
Thank you.
it
don't
tastes like crap because it's bad for you.
well, no, because it's got
I think it's
chlorine. in
fluoride.
it.
That's
I
what it
almost
is.
swore,
The
but
chlorine part
well,
of
it
it.
depends where you live. Like the worst water I've ever had was in Freeport, Illinois. I would rather drink pool water
Yeah.
than to drink
Okay.
that. And when I grew up, I lived on a farm, so we got our water out of like a well, so we didn't drink city water.
It's like clean water.
But then when I moved off the farm and moved into the city, and everything tasted like pool water, so I bought a Brita filter.
Yes.
But
yes.
I have to admit, I'm super lazy, and I never changed the filter.
Oh, so
my
you're
my
done, yeah.
roommate changed it once, like 5 years ago, and if she didn't change it, I never would have done
So
it.
Brent's been drinking
Dude,
regular
that's
tap water.
hilarious.
No, you can still tell the difference.
That is
A little-
so
yeah,
funny.
Yeah, you
for
can still
sure.
tell the difference.
Yeah.
But yeah, I won't just drink water straight from the tap.
Here's
'cause
my
it tastes
point.
bad.
Here's my point.
Maybe
If it
it's
was
fine in Delaware. I don't know.
Here's my theory. Hear me out real quick, and then we'll say, listen to this. This is the point I've been trying to make for a decade. If it's so unsafe to have your phone not on airplane mode, why wouldn't they take our phones from us?
Oh boy.
And if it's so unsafe to drink tap water, how are we all alive? Because there's no way everyone in this nation has a Brita.
But here's the thing: it's to Brent's point. Like, one, it just tastes better
Okay, I buy that.
filtered. Two, it's not like you're gonna all of a sudden drop dead one day. Like, I didn't drink filtered water.
Water took
Like,
his
oh,
heart.
no!
That's true.
You're not
Right, it could lead to other ailments.
Yeah,
It's kind of like if I smoke a cigarette, I don't drop dead.
No.
But over the course of time.
like it's not
can
healthy
cause
for you,
ailments,
and especially if you're a person out there that is.
But are we
like,
equating tap water to smoking cigarettes?
I'm not saying that.
Neither am I. I'm just asking the question.
I just think that to be safe and for it to taste good and to be healthier, like you got to go the filtered water route, man. You got to do it. You got to go Brita. You got to go water cooler. You
And I
gotta
need to go shower now?
You got to buy new fridge. Well, for a shower, what Kristen's talking about for women is like
hard water or something?
hair.
Yeah.
And also like skin care as well. Like if you have bad acne, it won't really help you. And it could help you if you have filtered water. I know. It's a lot for you to
I'm
process.
moving to a
huh?
hotel. All right. On the other side, we will hear from Jim Harbaugh, who compares the Chargers to like the greatest run organization in the
They're
history
like
of
filtered
sports. Yeah. We have the wrap coming up. Justin Allegri, voice of Cal, as we get ready for San Diego State and Cal. He'll join us coming up at 4:30. Hour 2, John and Jim next.
All right, this update is brought to you by Taco Bell. Padres and Mariners game 2 of their 2-game series, tonight up in Seattle, 6:40 first pitch. Michael King on the mound for the Padres. And a look around baseball at the scoreboard, the games that matter for the Pods. Mets, they beat the Blue Jays today 6-2. The Arizona Diamondbacks all over the Rangers 14-4. And the Braves and Nationals are underway in Washington, D.C. As I pull up the scoreboard right here, and it's scoreless in the bottom of the second inning there. The new Lux Cravings box from Taco Bell with cheesy, crunchy favorites, chips, and nacho cheese sauce, and a drink for just $7. Try it today. And participate in Taco Bell stores for limited time only while supplies last. Price and participation vary. Drinks exclude freezes, taxes extra.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Hour 2 of Jon and Jim. Justin Allegre will join us coming up at 4:30. Voice of Cal Athletics will talk San Diego State Cal. This is very rare, specifically for Jim to do this to me. Jim has basically blown my mind because he brought in this like water tester.
Yes.
And he just went here at the break to get filtered water from the filtered machine.
Yes.
And tap water from, was it the sink?
The sink, yeah.
So he got sink water and he got filtered water.
Correct.
And he put this little device into the water.
Yeah.
And basically said a low number is really good, like anything like under 0.6, and then a high number is bad. Makes sense. Mm-hmm. So he puts it in the filtered water and it's like a 0.2. Great. It's below 0.6. Yeah. It's good. It's healthy. Mm-hmm. He then puts it in the sink water.
It's like,
it was like a 38.
It's like 38.
So it went from 0.2 to 38.
Yeah. Let me tell this one more time here. So, this is the filtered water.
Mm-hmm.
It has some of the like filter. So it's like 0.28.
Okay.
That's pretty good. Here is the tap water. 36.9.
Dude.
It's not good for you.
So I think I'm basically done with tap water.
I've scared John enough.
You should have stopped drinking water altogether.
Yeah.
Just drink nothing but Celsius and Diet Coke.
I asked Jim at the break.
Drink a Coke. Drink a Diet Coke.
What's worse, tap water or the Diet Coke I'm about to drink?
Stick the thing in there.
Stick the water thing in the Diet Coke?
It wouldn't work because this is only for... Oh, wait, no, it would work, I guess.
It's a liquid.
It's a
give you a weird rating, but it might.
It's a TDS tester. I'm not sticking it in your drink.
Be a man.
It's going to be like...
By the way, you just put on Jon and Jim on social. Follow us at Jon and Jim on Twitter.
Yeah, as John drinks his Diet Coke that's about to spill everywhere.
Follow us at Jon and Jim. We'll follow you back right now. JOMANDJIM. And you put, do you use a filter or a Brita to drink your water at home? And Darnay Tripp replied immediately, what's going on here, guys? Like, what are we doing?
Oh, how did Darnay's big tweet go?
So
the home run record.
I'm glad you
asked that, Brent.
How is Darnay not on today? Text Darnay and see if he wants to talk about the tweet.
You text him. Hold on. I'm looking at the tweet.
I'm on the air.
Me too.
Oh, yeah.
This was Darnay's tweet for the big home run record-breaking hit by Manny Machado. Manny Machado has homered 164 times for the Padres. He now has sole possession of the franchise all-time home run record. Clapping emoji, clapping emoji, clapping emoji. Mm-hmm. Nate Colbert was number 1 since September 1969. His record total stood for 50 years. The home run crown now belongs to Manny. Crown emoji, crown emoji, crown emoji. And they attached a video of Manny hitting the home run.
He basically built his career on this build-up.
Well, he built
an accomplishment.
Darnay's going to get a statue just off that tweet.
He may get a statue next to the statue.
He's got 2 things.
The Arraez
tweet and the Manny home run record for the Padres.
Seriously.
You want some tap water?
No, I'm not touching that. That's disgusting.
You are so freaked out right now, huh?
I'm freaked out. All right, a couple of things we need to get to. I do want to hear from Jim Harbaugh. I do want to go to Dave, who's been very patient on the line. Let's just reopen up this wound, the Manny statue conversation with Dave. 877-767-4760. Dave, thanks for calling in, man. You're on with Jon and Jim.
Yeah, John, look, man, you better get your living will and trust in order.
You don't drink filtered water. Yeah.
You've been drinking tap water too long, brother. Now we know why you're so crazy all the time.
Seriously, you're not kidding. Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. That's
tap
fair.
water's the death of John.
Having said that, Jimmy, look, I hope you read the San Diego Union Tribune last week when the CDC pulled out of the Tijuana River Valley when they were down there testing because the air was so bad. They were afraid their people were going to get very, very ill and sick down
I don't want to talk about it, Dave.
Yeah, and you think I'm
What's
having
that?
problems.
I know.
with
I don't
my
want to
water.
talk about it. I
Yeah,
know it's
Jim
bad. It's
can't-
horrible.
He can't deal with it.
I-
Yeah.
it's
He
a
needs a
problem.
Brita filter for his house.
I can't. It's a
It's
problem
a
I'll never be
bio-
able to fix.
Yeah, it's a biohazard that no one wants to face, and I'll just leave it at that. Look, Adrian Beltre, he's got a statue. So does Mike Schmidt. Those are two of the, I think, considered two of the greatest third basemen, at least in modern times. But, they've got a cadre of statistics to go with it. So I think that Manny has yet to achieve that. If he gets into that realm of statistical acumen, and I think, Jim, you can go back and research this. I think it's easy enough to do, to pull up the numbers. I think it's not out of the question at this point. So it's all good, and that will mean the best news, guys. He gets the statue means good things that will have happened to the Padres.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we agree.
That's
Thanks,
why
Dave.
I say I want him to get a statue because then that means he has done so much. And look, I will say, yeah, Manny has done a lot for this franchise that doesn't show up on the field. I don't know, signing here and kind of turning around the franchise. That's also a huge moment in the history of the Padres.
No doubt.
Bringing one of the premier players in baseball at the time to San Diego.
The second he signed it, the richest deal in American professional sports.
Right. So that right there doesn't show up on the box scores or in the stats or the back of a baseball card.
Sure.
And that means a lot for sure.
Right. I'm not giving him a statue for that, but you're right. It was a significant moment for the organization.
Yeah. And I think how close he was to Peter, it means a lot as well.
There's a good point.
But he's getting a statue here.
Peter with Manny statue.
I would rather have just a regular
I think
Peter
separate from each other. Yeah. But I'm just saying, think about their relationship.
For sure.
Yeah.
And, to Dave's point, he's absolutely right. We want Manny to get a statue here because then that means he will have accomplished things that are above and beyond and do mean a lot to the team and the franchise and the fan base. And more likely than not, either got this team to a World Series or hopefully was a big part of helping this team win a World Series. So I'm not sitting here saying don't give him a statue. I want him to get a statue. I'm just saying to get a statue,
we just have different thresholds for how to get the statue.
He's got to get this, and I hope he gets that because that means that he's accomplished a lot here, and he's not even close to done, which is the cool part about this whole thing.
But by the way, we haven't mentioned it, and I feel like every September 11th, we should reference September 11th and not forgetting. I'm watching this New York Yankees game, and they're still wearing 23 years later NYPD and NYFD hats in recognition of those brave men and women and all the lives lost in that horrific day. That if you're too young to remember it, well, you can't remember it if you're 23 or younger. But if you live through that day, you'll never, ever, ever forget that day. And in a proud military city like San Diego, obviously the impact of 9/11 from then until today has been felt throughout this country, throughout the world for forever. So we're always thinking about 9/11. Even when it isn't 9/11, it's still surreal to think about 9/11. 23 years later, it's unbelievable to even imagine the ramifications of it. And then I'm reminded again, I think about when baseball came back in 2001, the tears on the players. Were we ever going to get sports the way they were? Was this country ever going to return to the way it was? And watching the Yankees in New York with NYPD hats just reminds you that 23 years, but it kind of feels like a blink of an eye, truthfully.
It's a moment that you will always remember.
If
where
you were around for it, yeah.
I remember I was in 7th grade and I got woken up by my mom. I had no idea what the World Trade Centers were, but when she was crying and 7th graders, I'm like, oh, World Trade Center.
Right.
But as soon as I figured out what was going on, it was just a whirlwind day. I remember it very vividly. And baseball was a huge part of bringing the country together with the game between the Mets and the Braves. I remember that vividly with Mike Piazza hitting that home run and kind of giving people something to cheer about when it was just, the worst, imaginable scenarios happening every single day for families and people. And it was honestly one of the only times I can remember in my lifetime where, the country everybody came together and everybody was together. And that's not political, but that was a moment that was a moment where everybody was together.
It's not political at all. It's proud to be an American. But I will say this. So I was 21. I'd spent the summer interning in New York City at Inside Edition, the syndicated television news show. I interned for him. I left in August of of 2001 to go back to State College. I was about to be a senior at Penn State. September 11th was 2 weeks into classes, roughly. And of course, Flight 93 went down in central Pennsylvania.
Yes, right.
Within, I forget what the distance was from State College, Pennsylvania, I think Shanksville, Pennsylvania, maybe an hour. Those brave men and women, those heroes that essentially saved other lives from being lost that day. You couldn't make a phone call. I remember I'm trying to make a call. All the lines were, I don't even know what they were. You couldn't make a phone call.
No.
During that time, I remember exactly where I was, downstairs in a classroom. I was at ESPN.com, top right-hand corner of ESPN.com, said a plane has crashed into the World Trade Center. I didn't understand the significance of it. Oh, an accident. It's a small plane.
I had the same reaction.
I didn't and then the second, and everything changes forever, My
dad, I remember I was sitting in class and we were talking about it. Like that day, nothing was going on. It was like my first period.
Right.
And my dad came to school and he took me out of class because he was scared.
Sure.
People were scared. Like they just didn't like any of their kids in a school system. Like you don't know what's going to happen.
No idea.
So it's like I got taken out of school and I remember going home and I just watched the news as a seventh grader.
Probably wasn't the greatest thing.
Not the greatest idea.
Nobody turns it off. We were 21. Me and Brent were roughly 20.
Yeah.
You didn't turn it off for days. You could, overnight, it was 24-hour news cycle. The bottom line really came out of that. The constant cycle of news coming out of 9/11.
Yeah, but it's a day that will never be forgotten. And, it's a day that you think about our armed forces, our first responders, our firefighters, policemen and women, and just everything that they do for us to keep us safe.
I remember I was in college and I was working at a Jack Link's in Wisconsin, and I was at work making beef jerky and pulling cheese sticks apart when it came down. And I remember everyone was just kind of like, huh?
Yeah.
And then
you'd have no idea what's going on.
Then after work, at the time, me and about 5 of my buddies lived in like this big house in this town, and we were just all glued to the TV. And I remember we had to go someplace down to like a friend's house in Northern Illinois, and we had to get gas. Not prepared for it. As soon as we went to this town called Broadhead that was on the way to where we were going, the line was literally going all the way out of the town for gas because people were they're in a panic that they were going to wake up and gas prices were going to be $20 a gallon and everything else. And I'd never seen something like that. In school, we'd always see like news footage of like the gas shortage in like the 70s and all the people lining up for miles to get, a gallon of gas. And that was like the closest thing to my lifetime that I've ever seen like that. And that was like 7 hours after the whole thing happened.
23 years. It's hard to really believe.
It's the only moment in the last 50 years that I think everybody that you asked that was alive during then and still alive now, they knew exactly what they were doing on that day.
Right. It's like if you lived through Pearl Harbor, if you lived through like these I don't even know. I mean, D-Day, Pearl Harbor.
It's a moment 9/11. You'll never forget where you were, and and the details about your day and your life at that time.
You just can't forget it.
You'll never forget.
You can't forget it. All right, we'll get to the wrap on the other side. Justin Allegri covers Cal football. He's the play-by-play voice for Cal. He'll join us at 4:30. San Diego State and Cal coming up this weekend is Jon and Jim. I promised we were going to go through Jim Harbaugh like 7 times. I feel really bad about it, but we have to get
Filtered
to
water.
The filtered water has gotten in the way. We had to move some space.
Seriously.
To talk filtered water.
Do you think Jim Harbaugh drinks filtered water?
Honestly, no.
He filters it through his khakis.
I'll tell you, man, he's an interesting cat.
Oh, yeah.
And that's putting it really mildly, and that's with all due respect to cats. But he's an interesting cat. Can we get to it in the 5 o'clock hour?
All respect to cats.
There's some great cats. We can't. It's kind of funny. Anyway.
I heard you say that, and I was like, oh, boy.
We're not doing
We're not going there.
There's no dog and cat talk today here on Jon.
We love dog and cats.
No commentary. No commentary. I guess we'll get to, what do you think? Should we get to him in the 5 o'clock hour? Because we got to do the wrap here, right?
Yeah.
Is anyone really waiting on what Jim Harbaugh had to tell?
No.
What do you think, Brett? We're putting him in. You know what? Let's hear from Harbaugh real quick.
Okay.
This is Harbaugh on the Herd on San Diego Sports 760, basically beating around the bush and eventually getting to the Chargers culture. Take a listen to this.
I would say about a day and a half after being on the field with the players, I realized that, guys like Derwin James, and that's what it hit me. I mean, just do whatever Derwin James is doing. There's guys here, Derwin, Justin Herbert, Joey Bosa, Khalil Mack. I mean, they just do everything right. Rashawn Slater, Zion Johnson. I realized that the culture's already here. It's already set. It's already these guys they've already been doing the dirty work, and they do it with a great love and passion for football, care for their teammates and the organization. So it was already set. So I just realized real early on that I'm the lucky one to be here and just go with what they've got established. And that's really, it caused me to say this is the best darn job I've ever had to start out with, and now being into it for these many months, man, this feels like just the best darn job I've ever had.
the best job he's ever had.
I think Michigan fans want to talk to you about something.
Niners fans would want to talk to you about something.
Yeah.
Right?
I'll talk to you about something, Jim.
What's been a better run organization in the NFL? The San Francisco 49ers or the LA Chargers? I mean, give me a break.
Not even close.
Right.
I will say he did kind of preface the first time he said it from the start. Was great. When he got there, all the pieces were in place with the Chargers. It's just, everything else is a mess. But yeah, he just kind of made it sound like this is the best job he's had from the start.
I just don't believe
when he got there.
When I hear him
Year
speak.
1 in San Francisco, he took the team to the NFC title game with Alex Smith.
But it's even when he speaks, my point. Like when I hear him, I don't believe what he's saying.
He's gotten weirder and weirder
right.
as time has gone on. Like I remember when he was hired to be the Niners head coach, he was not this weird.
Right.
Like
12 years ago.
He still had this like thing about him, but he was not a weirdo like he is now. Now he wins a lot, so you accept it. And I think Jim Harbaugh's a really, 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 really good head coach.
What was he like to cover at USD?
I don't think like this.
It wasn't this. Was it? What was he like at
this.
Stanford? It wasn't this, was it?
It wasn't this. But like, I'm sorry, you spent 4 years with the Niners. You went to a Super Bowl and you went to 2 NFC titles.
Very good teams. You're right.
You went to 4 years with the Niners. You went to a Super Bowl and you went to 3 NFC title games?
3 other NFC title games? You're saying one the year they went to the Super Bowl and 2 other NFC title games?
Year 1 versus the Giants. Year 2, they beat the Atlanta Falcons. And in year 3, they faced the Seattle Seahawks. And then year 4, they went 8-8. So that run right there, 3 NFC title games and a Super Bowl appearance, and your bad year was a 500 record.
Dude, what did he do at Stanford? All he did was win. What did he do at Michigan? Michigan took a little bit of time, but they won a national championship, and this is the best job he's ever had. He's
just doing it to play up to the masses.
He's got some good players. I'm not, honestly, Justin Herbert's a great player. He's a great quarterback.
I think the Chargers are kind of frauds, to be honest with you.
Well, it's only one game. You're saying in the here and now. I think they have a chance to get good with him, potentially.
They beat the Raiders with Gardner Minshew.
But it's only one game, is my point.
That I know
they've only played one team.
I think people are too high on the Chargers. Is my point.
Maybe
they have no weapons on the outside.
Are people overly high on that?
Yes, because of Jim Harbaugh.
Nationally, they're overly high.
Yes, I think so.
Okay,
I think Greg Roman is an outdated offensive coordinator. He's perfect for
Yeah,
this
you lived
system.
through that, right?
He's perfect for this system because they have no wide receivers, they have no tight end, and they're going to run. I mean, Justin Herbert, he threw for what, 150 yards or something?
Yeah, but I don't think it's fair. I think Justin Herbert's a very good quarterback.
I think he's a great quarterback,
Yeah.
but I also think that they have no weapons
around him. Right.
And
What's the ceiling right now? I'm all with you. The ceiling right now is nowhere near a deep playoff run, but that doesn't mean in the future they couldn't get to
play against the big boys and see how it goes.
Yeah, it was only one game. It's not their fault they played the Raiders at home, but your point's valid.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, he's just, when I heard him say it, hey, this team's got such a good culture. I'm like, wait, what are we talking about? Like, even if you're not even talking about the franchise from an ownership perspective and you're just talking about the on-field players haven't won anything. The guys that have been there, they've been disappointing. They've lost a lot of big games. They've found ways not to make the postseason. Remember the game 2 years ago? Was it the Raiders in week 17? They needed to tie it to make the postseason. They played their way out of the postseason, and they've got the great culture. He's got to go bring them to the great culture. He's got to go be Jim Harbaugh to bring the Chargers to where he's been before.
The great culture he's talking about was him.
Yeah, exactly.
Not that it was already there.
Right.
What was already there, it was
guys that
disaster.
Underperformed.
Yeah.
I completely agree. All right. So Saturday night, we'll get to the wrap in the 5 o'clock hour. Saturday night, San Diego State will be at Cal to take on the Bears. Justin Allegri is the play-by-play voice of Cal. Cal is 2-0. And they won this past week, a great win. They won on the Plains at Auburn, 21-14. They forced 5 turnovers. They have 7 picks through 2 weeks, the most in the nation. So they're 2-0. San Diego State heading to the road for the first time this season. Let's catch up on this game on the other side with Justin Allegri, play-by-play voice of the Cal Bears. That's coming up next, Jon and Jim.
All right, this update is brought to you by Taco Bell. Padres and Mariners, game 2 of their quick 2-game series tonight up in Seattle. 6:40 first pitch there as Manny Machado is now the all-time home run king for the Padres franchise as he hit his 164th home run last night. He'll continue to add to that record as the days go on. Moving over to other games that are happening that affect the Padres right now. Atlanta in Washington, they trail the Nationals 2-0, bottom of the third inning there. And the D-backs, they were all over the Rangers today, beating them 14-4. And the Mets beat the Blue Jays 6-2. The new Lux Cravings box from Taco Bell with cheesy, crunchy favorites, chips and nacho cheese sauce, and a drink for just $7. Try it today at participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Price and participation vary. Drinks exclude freezes, taxes extra.
All right, San Diego State and Cal, Saturday night, Memorial Stadium up in Berkeley. Cal, what a great start to their year 2-0. San Diego State coming off that home loss to Oregon State 1-1. And let's look ahead to this weekend. Of course, you can hear it right here on San Diego Sports 760. Justin Allegri is the play-by-play voice of the Cal Bears. It is with us right now on Jon and Jim. Justin, we appreciate you taking time. Cal 2-0, defense riding out 7 interceptions, right? The most in the nation through 2 weeks. How good? I mean, what has carried the way here? It's got to be the defense, right? And all these turnovers that they forced. And thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, I think that's the start of the story for Cal here early on, and I appreciate you guys having me on the show.
Yeah,
it was a little surprising going down to Auburn after their 73-point output, and granted it was against an FCS opponent, but the talk around town was that this Auburn team was going to be just vaunted for their offense, and Cal came in and had an excellent game plan against them. They really put pressure on Peyton Thorne, and you see all of those turnovers. There have been contributions from some transfers from Cal, none bigger than Teddy Buchanan last week, who had 11 tackles, a couple of sacks, and a forced fumble. It all was just going right defensively for Cal, and that was coupled after a win at home over UC Davis. So it is about the defense right now from this Cal team, and Justin Wilcox, the head coach, he's a defensive-minded head coach. But the thing that was the most impressive to me was that you go down and get a win over an SEC team when your top tier running back, a guy that you were expected to lean on for so many wins this year, Jaden Ott, was not himself. He only had 11 yards rushing, and he was kind of limited due to an injury he sustained the week before. So you have your top dog out, and you still go down and get a win. So it was all very impressive.
How big of a win was this for the program? I know that the program maybe not resonates enough in the Bay Area, especially with so many sports teams up there. But to beat Auburn, on the road, I figure this has to mean a good amount, right?
Yeah, especially early in the season, I think. And it's an important year for Cal. There's important seasons for a lot of college football teams this year, but Cal is in that category just because they're in a new conference. There's just a lot of talk about the shifting that could be happening in college football in the next few years. So for Cal to try and establish themselves and get a foothold in the whole idea of what's the next shift going to be, can Cal be in that Power 5, Power 4, whatever you want to call it when the next move is? This is an important year for Cal. And that is a first win in the right direction for a season that needs to be a good one for the Bears. And they know it. They don't want to put a lot of pressure on themselves, but they know how big this season is going to be. So you get off on the right foot with the win over an SEC team, and now you try to just build as much momentum as you can going into ACC conference play.
Justin Allegri with us right now. He calls Cal Bears games up in the Bay Area, and of course San Diego State Cal coming up Saturday night at 7:30. When I think about college football, it's like sometimes off those extreme highs, it's tough to get back there, right? You look at Notre Dame winning at Texas A&M, they lose at home to NIU. And then you also think about the idea of a trap, and I don't know if it exists this early in the season. I don't know if Cal would fall for it either. It's not like they're going 10-2 every year, but you win on the Plains, and you have Florida State coming not this weekend, but next. And sandwiched between is the San Diego State team that's 1-1 that was shut out at home this past weekend by Oregon State, 21-0. How much fear, if any, from the Cal perspective is that trap or letdown or look-ahead element?
I think it's something that's been discussed, certainly, but this is the San Diego State team that the coaching staff is not looking past whatsoever. I mean, I spent 10 years in the Mountain West with San Jose State, so I know what the Aztecs can do. And granted, it's a new head coach and a lot of new faces. I understand that. But Coach Wilcox knows that San Diego State has been a very, very good program for a number of years. So you can't look past them. And especially when you come home, when you want to put on your best performance in front of a home crowd to set the table for the rest of the schedule, which is mostly ACC opponents that the Bay Area fans either haven't seen ever or rarely get a chance to see. It's an important game. And you're right. Florida State is the conference opener for the Bears the week after. And they had a couple of tough losses. So that's probably a game that everybody's going to have circled, but you cannot look past San Diego State, and they aren't. They're preparing for them like this is a team that will come in with a lot of confidence and a chip on their shoulder because of the loss that they had against Oregon State last week.
For San Diego State fans, probably not watch a lot of Cal Berkeley football. Like, what is the strength of this Cal football team this year that could be problems for San Diego State come up on Saturday?
We talked about it a little bit earlier, and it's the defense to me. There's a lot of young talent on the offense, but the defensive side of the ball is going to be the strength, and it was expected to be the strength this year for Cal. It's kind of interesting. There's some wrinkles to that defense. You'll oftentimes just see two down linemen. They'll use those edge rushers on the outside linebacking position really, really effectively, and they'll play a lot of nickels. So they really lean on some of their athletes in the secondary to make some plays. And the middle, the inside linebackers, two very, very talented players in Cade Uluwabe, who was a freshman last year, was the freshman of the year in the Pac-12, and a transfer from UC Davis and Teddy Buchanan, who had a great, great career at the FCS level. So the defense certainly, and the defense is more healthy right now than the offense. The defense is what's going to carry this team. And it was kind of interesting to watch this team last year because it was expected that the defense was going to be so good. But then they went up against Penix and Bo Nix and all these quarterbacks, Cam Ward, all these quarterbacks with these huge, huge offensive numbers. And you kind of were left scratching your head a few times. But now we've come back to remind ourselves that this is a very good defensive football team, and they're trying to build that again here this year.
Justin Allegri calls Cal Bears games, and of course, San Diego State and Cal coming up Saturday night at 7:30 from Berkeley. I think if you would have asked most people heading into the year, say, wow, what a massive adjustment for Cal and Stanford, switching leagues and playing all these, East Coast opponents in the Atlantic Coast Conference. I look at it 2 weeks into the season, I'm like, the thing's wide open in the ACC. Like, no one has any idea how this plays out. Florida State, like you said, their losses. Clemson had the doors blown off them in week one by an unbelievable team in Georgia, but who really knows? To me, it just feels completely wide open. Now, I know we're not even really in league play. I know we've seen some ACC games. We're not truly in league play, but you see it the same way. Like, again, heading into the year, you're not thinking maybe Cal or Stanford is going to be towards the top of the league, but a couple of weeks in, it just, to me, feels wide open.
Yeah. College where it's really difficult to tell who the top tier teams in each conference is going to be every year. And now, granted, you'll have some of the perennial teams that are expected to be at the top of every conference, but with the amount of transfers now and with the NIL money that's being thrown around by some of these schools, it's difficult to identify what a team is going to be year in and year out. I mean, I'll give the example of Syracuse, who last year, they fired their head coach. They weren't getting wins. And this year they bring in an Ohio State transfer quarterback, and all of a sudden they're relevant again in the ACC. Miami's really good. They brought in Cam Ward from Washington State, Damian Martinez, the tailback from Oregon State. They look talented. It's going to be settled down. I always think that 4 or 5 weeks into the season, you kind of get your separation. But the teams that were expected to be the world beaters aren't necessarily the ones being thought of right now in the ACC. And I think that has a lot to do with how quickly you can turn your roster over and how quickly things can change because of the transfer portal.
What kind of crowd would be expected, Justin, Saturday night? What's typical here for Cal? Because, right, I mean, the national perspective would be, well, they're not going to fill the building, or like a Stanford, they're not filling the building, or even some of these California schools in general when it comes to college football. But again, the 2-0 start, the win at Auburn, What's capacity and what's the expected crowd roughly?
Yeah, capacity is just under 60,000. Last year, I think the best crowd that I saw was against Auburn, and there were a lot of SEC fans there. But one thing that I've come to recognize, and this is just my second year at Cal, is that when you have a little momentum, the students really show up, and they're trying to ride that win against Auburn as best they can in terms of marketing to the students to walk up the hill to California Memorial Stadium. So typical crowd has been in the high 20s, low 30s. I expect it to be a little bit higher for this game. It's an in-state opponent, so that's always something that draws a little bit better too. And there's some excitement and some buzz. Anytime you have a 2-0 team, it's a lot different coming home rather than 1-1. So I expect it to be a pretty good crowd.
Yeah, I would think so and hope so as well. We're looking forward to it, Justin. San Diego State on the road for the first time this year, up at Cal. A really interesting series all time, by the way. 4-4 all time, San Diego State and Cal. No home team has ever lost on its home field in the series. Justin, thank you. We will see you this weekend. Appreciate you doing it in San Diego.
Yeah, thanks for the time. I appreciate it. And John, congrats on the gig. Ted Leitner was such an institution down there. So happy for you and that you're taking over there.
I appreciate you saying it, Justin. Really do. Thank you for hopping on, and we'll see you this weekend, all right?
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
All right, Justin Allegri, again, voice of the Cal Bears. He didn't have much to say about you. In terms, he didn't say, "Hey Jim, congratulations on Jon Jim. I know it launched 3 years ago.
Let's see.
Hey,
here,
the wedding. It was the pictures are beautiful.
Yeah,
Kidney stone.
Kidney stone.
I survived
Lake Como.
Yeah,
that was the wedding.
Yeah, I'm glad you filter your water.
Yeah, true. He should have said that to you.
Yeah, here's the thing.
He doesn't know you.
Half the time, people don't even know I exist on this show.
And that includes me and Brent.
That or they think you guys are the same person.
That
Do you
do.
get that sometimes?
The best, though, is when someone comes on, they're like, John, thank you so much.
Like, thanks, John.
I've always wanted to appear on your show.
I'm like, okay.
Call right now if you want 2 free tickets to a sold-out show, Hosier, at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater this Saturday night. Call 877-767-4760. We're doing trivia. We call it Trainwreck Radio. It is back. First 2 callers will be contestants. A sold-out show. We have 2 free tickets to see Hosier. You need to call right now, 877-767-4760. Saturday night, date night, great concert this weekend here in San Diego. If you want those tickets, first 2 callers will be our contestants. Again, the number to call right now for Hosier tickets, 877-767-4760. That's next. 2 just dropped off. Who wants to play Matt for a chance to win 2 free tickets to a sold-out concert Saturday night? Hosier. This is at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Saturday night, 2 free tickets. It's sold out. If you want those tickets, call 877-767-4760. You'll play Matt in trivia, but you need to call right now. So pick up your phone right now if you want 2 free tickets. Saturday night, something to do, date night, sold-out show. 877-767-4760. Call right now. 877-767-4760. Turn your mic on, Jim. Okay, that's how this works.
Just real quick before we get to train wreck radio here, man, it was a fun day at Humboldt Casino.
It was a great day at Humboldt Casino.
It was a great day.
Good food, good company, great spot.
Yeah.
It was a good time. We had both been there previously. We were at the Tony Gwynn Sports Pub today. Spectacular.
Hanging out with Bethany, Kat, Brian Wilson, Gary. It was great.
Yeah,
I had this
you had a huge burger.
I had the Slam Diego burger.
Put that on social media.
I will. Don't worry about it.
Right now.
No. The Tony Gwynn Sports Pub voted its best sports pub in the UT Readers poll for multiple years. It is a great place to go to watch a game. The food there is
memorabilia, and the memorabilia,
all this Tony memorabilia,
and
they're doing some renovations there. So,
dude, they're opening a 200-room hotel in 2025 attached to Humboldt.
I know,
yeah, it's spectacular.
And the Tony Gwynn Sports Pub is gonna have some more memorabilia. Show up from Tony. So they're just opening up a new Asian restaurant. Tomorrow called Emeralds.
I think Chinese food.
Yeah, fantastic. So. Just a great day overall at Humboldt. Just want to say that.
Get out there. I agree.
So it's emerald, like the stone.
Yeah, not emerald.
Oh,
emerald.
No, I thought you said like Legacy.
No,
or
good clarification. No, this is emerald.
That's so funny because we were talking about it at lunch about one of the reps. She said that they had a photo shoot with Emerald today.
Oh wow.
And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, Emerald Legacy was here?
Yeah, that's what I thought you meant.
And like, no, there's the restaurant is called Emerald right over the corner there.
I peeked in because it's opening tomorrow. You should have seen this place. It looked unbelievable. Like the way it's laid out.
Yeah.
It looks spectacular.
It's fantastic.
So anyway, check them out. We'll be telling you more about them. And we were over there earlier today. And if you haven't been, you need to get there. All right, let's play.
All right, 3 questions, 2 contestants, 1 lifeline. Today's 2 contestants, we have Matt and Tommy. Matt, you called in first, so you have your choice of John or Jim. Who do you want to go with?
John.
Oh, okay. Matt and John.
Matt and John. Tommy, you get Jim, okay?
Sounds like a plan.
All right, buddy. Brent, what is the question of the day?
All right, guys, week 1 in the NFL is come and gone. Today's question: name these 7 players that rushed for 100 or more yards in their opening game. So there were 7 players this week that rushed for 100 or more yards on the ground. Name them. That is today's question.
Oh, boy.
You okay?
I'm okay. Maybe we should drink some filtered water. Tommy, you're up first. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Joe Mixon.
Oh, wow.
On the list.
Yeah. Joe Mixon, bro? On the list.
There we go. Matt, you're up next. What's your first guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
I have a few, but let me go ahead and take the lifeline, please.
That's me?
That's you, Joe.
I'll give you week 1, Friday night, Brazil, Mr. 3 touchdown, Saquon Barkley.
Do you take that?
I'll take that one.
All right. On the list. There we go. Tommy, back to you. What's your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Shoot, I'm a direct TV customer, so I didn't see the Monday night game, but was it the backup running back for the Niners? Was it Mason Jordan?
We'll take that if that's where you want to go.
Yeah, Jordan Mason.
Yeah, it's fine.
No, yeah.
Nobody's ever heard of him.
Probably read it. He goes, Mason, comma, Jordan.
No, yeah.
Yeah, Jordan Mason. Matt, back to you. What is your second guess? You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
Well, I used my lifeline.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but you want to use another one?
No, you can't use another one.
I'm gonna take the chief running back, Pachanga.
That's fine. Pachanga. Is Pachanga on the list? He's not on the list.
Yeah, we can't just say Chiefs running back. You got to give a name.
Well, he did.
No, but he doesn't have.
I know.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, you can't just say Chiefs.
But I feel like after your guy mismatched the names, we would have given him Pachanga.
Mason Jordan. I mean,
Pachanga is close.
I would have gave it to him, but he's not on the list anyways. I know who you meant.
Okay, Tommy, back to you, buddy. You could win it right here with the correct answer. You do have a lifeline if you want to use it.
All right. I'm going to use a lifeline and help me out here, Mr. Jim, because keep in mind, he picked Jon first. So that's a direct shot. You got to come through for me here.
Everyone picks Jon first.
Right.
Oh, man. That's, I'm trying to think here. I got Joe Mixon. I got Saquon Barkley.
Yeah, those guys have been picked.
I know. I'm thinking this out here. Jordan Mason.
Mason Jordan.
And
Pachanga.
No. I'm trying to think of the games. J.K. Dobbins of the Chargers.
J.K. Dobbins.
You take that.
Oh, I'm a Buckeye. So, yeah, JK all day, baby.
JK all day for the tie or the win?
That's the win.
Ball
That's
game.
the win, buddy. That is the freaking win.
Tommy
Let's go.
wins.
I just had to talk myself through it.
JK Dobbins. Where was McCaffrey on that list?
He's on the sideline, John.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Who else is on
street
this?
clothes.
Who else is on this list?
All right, Mixon was number 1. He had 159. Then Jordan Mason, a.k.a. Mason Jordan. Then J.K. Dobbins. Lamar Jackson was 4th. He had 122. This guy's like my SGA and NBA. Was it Ramondre Stevenson from New England? How do you say his first name?
Yeah.
Stevenson from New England. I can never say his first name. Then Saquon was 6, and then Kenneth Walker the 3rd was 7.
So 7 over 100 yards. The quarterbacks we had it the other day, there were like 2 quarterbacks over 300 yards, unless Monday Night Football changed that. Did Monday Night Football change that?
Ramondre Stevens.
But how many quarterbacks threw for 300 yards? Did anyone on Monday night?
Stafford and Tua.
Only 2, yeah, just Stafford
2.
and Tua.
So 7 100-yard rushers, 2 300-yard throwers. I found that.
You know, it's weird. I was thinking about this, and it's a
Baker and
week
Mahomes are close. They're only off by like 11 yards.
You know how they always do like power rankings, which are always stupid.
Of course. I've already seen them.
This is a dumb question to ask right now, but after 1 week,
who's your
MVP of the league? Is it Baker?
You're right. That is dumb.
Truly the dumbest thing I've
know.
ever heard. And we'll answer it on the other side.
No, just answer right now. It's not like who's your front runner? Who's the front runner? Saquon?
No,
Justin
of course
Fields.
he's not front runner for MVP because it's going to be a quarterback.
So Baker.
It's not Baker either. But you're saying who had the best week 1? Baker Mayfield be right there.
I think Baker had the best weekend of any quarterback in the league.
Probably.
Like statistically.
But spoiler alert, he's not going to win NFL MVP this year.
You're right about that.
On the other side, we will get to the wrap. We have more giveaways as well. And congratulations to Tom. You're going to see Hosier this weekend, Saturday night, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. Tickets and info at Ticketmaster.com. It's hour 3 of Jon and Jim next. All right, hey guys, Jon and Jim, and it is the best time of the year for a lot of sports fans. The NFL is back, college football is back, baseball postseason right around the corner with Underdog Fantasy. Listen to this. You can win 325 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats.
Yeah, and tomorrow night, Thursday Night Football, week 2, they're giving out a gimme pick of Josh Allen higher than a half total yard.
We'll do that.
If you don't want to play that, this weekend, CeeDee Lamb higher than a half total yards receiving.
He'll do that. So download the Underdog Fantasy app right now. Pick higher or lower on your favorite players, and you can get up to $1,000 in cash and even more. Yeah, they're giving you free picks. Go to the mobile app, UnderdogFantasy.com. Use this promo code, Jon and Jim. It's JONANDJIM. It's promo code Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM. You'll get the discounted pick Jim just told you about. You'll get a 50% deposit match up to $1,000. Their best offer ever. Remember to use promo code Jon and Jim, JONANDJIM.
Must be 18 or older and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms do apply. Concern with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org. All right, this update is brought to you by Taco Bell. Padres Mariners game 2 of their quick 2-game series. 6:40 first pitch. Michael King is on the mound for the Padres. And score updates around baseball that affect the Padres. The Mets came back today and they beat the Blue Jays 6-2. D-backs all over the Rangers today, 14-4. And right now in Washington, the Braves are taking on the Nationals. 4-0 Nationals. Top of the 6th inning, we have a no-hitter alert for the Nats against the Braves.
That'd be a big result if that held, just the score.
Seriously. The new Lux Cravings box from Taco Bell with cheesy, crunchy favorites, chips and nacho cheese sauce, and a drink for just $7. Try it today at participating Taco Bell stores for a limited time only. While supplies last, price and participation vary. Drinks exclude freezes, taxes extra.
Getting you all set for that drive home. Let's just start the show. Here's Jon and Jim.
All right, San Diego and Southern California, what's going on? Final hour of Jon and Jim, where we do have some great giveaways for you. We'll do it this hour. We've got tickets to see John Party, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And we've tickets to see either Glass Animals or The Glass Animals coming up actually this Friday night, so in like 2 days. So we'll give those away this hour. We'll get to the wrap as well. I wanted to mention this because you just said the game's not over, but Atlanta's trailing 4-0. Yeah, no hitter in progress. But more importantly, Atlanta's trailing 4-0. So let's consider this. If Atlanta loses this game, and they will unless they overcome a 4-run deficit late, that's their 67th loss. The Padres right now are sitting on 64. Here's the other qualifier. The Padres have the Atlanta tiebreaker. So Atlanta would have to finish with fewer losses than the Padres to get into the postseason over San Diego, which means Padres would start having a little bit of cushion there. Like, as they take the field tonight in Seattle, if Atlanta loses, and that game could be final within the hour, it's in the 6th inning, then the Padres are 3 games up in the loss column with a tiebreaker.
Yeah. So
more breathing room.
More breathing room for making the postseason.
Which is where I got to walk before I run.
I know.
So that's in my goals for the team.
Everything, though, is in play. And I think the most important thing, obviously, besides making the postseason, like you gotta get that 4 seed.
I want that 4 seed.
I want that 4 seed. Bad.
Get games downtown.
Yeah.
Petco, rocking, 3-game series.
5 seed, not ideal.
No, it's
at
not.
all.
It's not.
6 seed, really not ideal. But
would Phoenix sell out? Serious question. Does Chase Field sell out?
Yeah.
Coming off a World Series for a Tuesday 2:10 Pacific start.
You know why? You know why
Because
it
the
would sell out?
Padres fans.
Yeah.
Everyone drive down.
It's an easy drive.
That's the one advantage. You'd have like half Padres fans, maybe more.
Yeah, and while it will be definitely a hard road if you had to go Arizona then LA, it's quick. It's
easy to get to.
You can get to Arizona in 4.5, 5 hours. You can get to LA in 2.5, 3 hours.
No, it's like 90 minutes.
Oh, that's right. My bad. Sorry.
It's
I was told one time
commute.
it's just right up the road. It's
Yeah,
it's like 90 minutes away.
60, 70 minutes.
Yeah, it's not that far away.
But that's an important result because this is the good news. If you're the Padres, they're like playing from like the good position. They've got the leg up on Atlanta, New York.
Yes.
So like every time Atlanta or New York loses, I mean, they're getting further and further away from surpassing the Padres. Still enough time, but I mean, time's kind of running out here for teams behind San Diego. With just about 2.5 weeks to go in the regular season. And tonight, Michael King, who's been just awesome. They just put it up on the bottom line. His last 11 starts, he's got a 2.14. That's top 5 in baseball.
And you're saying he wouldn't start?
No, I'm saying he wouldn't start game 1.
Okay.
That's nice. We'll see. I don't think he would.
Yeah, we'll see. I don't know if he would either, but he's definitely, for me, starting one of the first 2.
He would start one of the first 2 games.
He's been pitching fantastic.
But I agreed on that a couple days ago.
Yeah. Also, did you see that Luis Arraez, darn nice stat, hasn't struck out in his last 120 plate appearances?
Thanks. 5 Ks tonight. That's great.
He strikes out.
6 strikeouts, a franchise record for a game. His 6th. Padres lead 16-1, but he's gotten 6 plate appearances. He's 0 for 6.
Luis Arraez, they win the World Series.
But he didn't walk.
You didn't walk. Struck out 75 times.
Dude, that fake outrage about, he doesn't walk. The guy is far and away leading the National League in hitting again. He's days away from his 3rd consecutive batting crown. The first player ever to do it with 3 different teams in 3 consecutive years, but he doesn't walk. Yeah. He's leading the National League in hitting again, and he's scorching hot.
He's going to win his 3rd batting title.
In a row.
With
a 3rd different team. Yeah, like there's there's nothing else to be said about Luis Arraez.
Long-term contract offseason for him?
We talked about this last night. I mean, I just don't know. Can someone throw out a theoretical on like an Arraez contract? Like, is this high? Is this low? 5 years, 100? Is that high in dollars? Because all he does is single, walk.
Multiple-time All-Star. He's going to be a 3-time batting champion, 3 times in a row.
Plays multiple positions.
Yeah, theoretically,
he's not the greatest defender. I mean, he's a first baseman for you right now in a DH.
Yeah.
He's not like going to go out there and
he's not Mr. Versatile
second baseman.
Right.
I don't think he's played second base for the Padres this year. Maybe a couple times.
I thought a game or two.
He did a little bit when he first got here.
Yeah, I think he did a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, yeah, that can't happen.
Yeah, are you saying yes or no right now? If his agent puts a 5-year, $100 million deal on AJ Preller's desk and says sign it.
Here's the thing. So Luis Arraez, we say, kind of like throwback player.
Absolutely.
You would sign to a big time contract.
Well, big time, relatively speaking, not like a Tatis Machado.
How much stock do you put in like WAR numbers?
But that's the thing. You're going to have to look past the modern baseball analytics for a guy that just is here's how I see him. He's a cog in the wheel. He does his job. His job is to reach base safely at a high clip. That's what he's been able to accomplish. Puts ball in play. Yeah, I don't know what his career WAR is. I'm sure it's under just like Trevor Hoffman's career WAR. I mean, it's different, but you know what I mean. It's not high either.
He's been in the league since 2019, John.
Okay, you want me to guess?
Yeah.
The way you say it, I think he's going to average out as like a 2 to 3 WAR player per year, which would tell me he's at a 13.9.
13.9 WAR?
Career? Yeah.
Try 16.1.
That's very close. And it's
He's a
by 2.
He's got a 1.1 WAR this season.
Yeah. Okay.
But he does things that a lot of people don't do, which is one, never strike out.
Mm-hmm.
And he just hits for a really, really good average every single year that more often than not is going to lead the league.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to hit for power. He's never going to be a walk guy. Like, he's never going to drive in 100 runs.
Will his bat play as he ages? I say yes.
I say 100% yes.
Because he's not a speed guy. He's not a versatile guy as it is. It's just he's a bat guy. So because here's what I'll do. I'll sweeten the pot for him. I'm going to meet him in the middle. His agent says 5,100. Here's what I write back. 6,105.
Okay.
So it's actually more money overall, but less per year. Is that a lot of money? 18, 19 a year for a guy that doesn't hit for power? Yeah, maybe it is, but he's going to get 15 next year in arbitration.
Yep.
Which means he's probably due then to get a bump after that.
And you look at his career, he's a career 324 hitter.
That's crazy.
And it's not like he averages like 200 plate appearances a year.
No.
He averages 162 game season, 675 plate appearances in a season. That's his average.
Oh, he averages how many games a season? Has an average 162 games.
In a 162 game season.
675 plate appearances.
He averages about, I want to say, probably in the 500 range. Well, the last like 4 years.
How many games did he play last year and the year before?
He played 147 last year, 144 the year before that.
And this year he's played how many games?
This year he's played 136.
Okay. It was nicked up a little bit.
Yeah, so
they sat him against lefties a couple times.
He'll be in the 140. He'll be right around there.
Range, yeah.
Yeah, so the last 3 years he averages over 600 plate appearances. And then if you count it out to him over a 162 game year,
gotcha. Yeah,
that's the average.
And he gets a million plate appearances because he's towards the top of your lineup.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm on board with. Again, I'm not moving, heaven and earth, but I think if you need to give an extra 1 or 2 million AAV for a guy that is a proven, we're watching it play out. Like, what do you not like here? The team's winning. They've taken off with him. It looked a lot different when he wasn't here. The guy's always on base.
I just love the way he approaches the game. I love his approach to the plate. I love that he's a throwback player.
Especially here in San Diego, where we're familiar with good hitting for average with Tony.
And truthfully, you might say, oh, he's a throwback player. But he's doing things that nobody in the game does, which is he never strikes out. Okay? He leads the league every single year in average. Those, to me, are like pretty valuable things because the game has changed to where the strikeout, like, hey, can you hit 40 home runs? Yeah. If I strike out 230 times, are you okay with that? Yeah, sure. It's fine.
Right. No, he's not that.
He's not that.
Right.
But like, find me anybody in the league that has lower than 26 total strikeouts on this season. You can't.
So like
with that many plate appearances.
Where is he in the priority list? Hey, without the vibes of Profar, got to get him back. Hey, Merrill, what a year. You got to keep him here for forever. Arraez, he's got one more year under contract, arbitration eligible. Like in the grand scheme of priorities for AJ, the second this thing ends, hopefully it's late October, early November, whatever it is. But when it does end, because it will inevitably end, is this the top priority? Is it a top priority to keep him here into his 30s?
Well, the top priorities always should go free agents first. So like, who are this team's free agent list?
Well,
Profar.
Yeah.
I mean, Solano, Peralta, but they're not, to me, like, you're not going to dish out multi-year contracts for those two guys. Profar is the interesting case because he just fits here in San Diego. He plays really well here in San Diego. Obviously, the vibes here with him are great, and everybody loves Jurickson Profar. He's like a team first guy, and he just makes everybody around him feel better.
What's your Profar deal look like?
That's something I don't know.
2 for 20.
I mean, you can't jump. You can't be like, if you're Profar and you ask for like 20 million a year, you can't do that.
Yeah, sorry.
Between 10 and 15 for 2, like
10 and 15 total or per year?
Per year.
Okay, so I said 2 for 20. You basically said 2 for 20, 230.
Yeah.
So maybe 2 for 25, 12 and a half per year.
Right. And if it doesn't, it's not one of those like big big time 10-year, $300 million contracts that you got to work through. This isn't, to me, that like huge contract that should take long. But truthfully, Ha-Seong Kim's another person that you have to talk about. If he opts out, like, what are you going to do with that? What's your shortstop situation look like?
Ha-Seong Kim, I'd be surprised if he didn't opt out.
But back to the original question, I think Luis Arraez on the priority list, since we're talking about him, it's pretty high up there. Like, do you want to give Jackson Merrill a contract extension this offseason? What are you going to do with Dylan Cease in the coming arbitration period? Same thing with Luis Arraez. Do you want to try to get a contract done with those two?
Right, or do you wait it off because they're both under control?
Right. Like, the team should be pretty much intact next year. A couple pieces here and there. Tanner Scott's going to be a pending free agent.
Well, that was always my thing about, and Ken Rosenthal wrote this today, like, what does this look like long term? Nobody knows because of their big investments in the Tatis's and the Machados. I'm like, how long are people going to go down that path? Sustainable. They've been relevant and marketable and high priced for a half decade. And all of a sudden, it's just going to crumble down because they paid Manny Machado a lot of money. Like, this is who the Padres are. They're going to find a way with AJ Preller. We'll get to the wrap on the other side. Party concert coming up Saturday, September 21st at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. The wrap coming up next, Jon and Jim. All right, hey guys, it's Jon and Jim, and we've been telling you this week about our friends over at Hamul Casino. We had the great fortune of being there earlier today, checking it out once again, hanging out at Tony Gwynn Sports Pub with the phenomenal food and drinks and televisions. It's the place to be, and it's really the place to be this football season because you can join them every single Monday this month here in September for a chance to win big. Monday Night Live, $100,000 punch out.
Yeah, it's a great place for sports fans. Tony Gwynn Sports Pub, like John said, we ate there today. Delicious food, tons of televisions to watch every single sports game that you want. Speaking of the Mondays in here in September, you can get 10 winners every hour at 7 p.m., 8 p.m., and 9 p.m. Your odds are better than ever. Plus, you can earn entries all month long by playing and getting two-time entries on Tuesdays with at least $500 cash for all winners and a chance to win up to $100,000. Guys, you're not going to want to miss it.
And they're not kidding about their endless dining. We had some great food today. Jim with the burger, me with the Asian salmon salad as well. They've got endless dining, though, 5 nights a week. And their endless dining options include Saturday surf and turf buffet. They're going over the top. Perfect combination of succulent steaks and delectable seafood. They've got a wide array of everything you could possibly imagine.
And they have a new restaurant opening up tomorrow, Emerald, new Chinese restaurant. So check that out starting tomorrow at Hamul Casino. Get there all football season long, including every Monday night for Monday Night Live, $100,000 punch out. Hamul Casino, it's fun above all else.
Our iHeartRadio Music Festival is back September 20th and 21st, 2 weeks away. T-Mobile Arena in Vegas, 2 nights on stage while the world is listening on the free iHeartRadio app. You can be there. We've got free chances every weekday for you to win a pair of tickets plus $1,000. Keep listening for a chance to text and win. SportsSC.com for more information. Jon and Jim. That's us. We're here. So typically we do the wrap at 4 p.m. But today we didn't.
That's correct.
So we could do it right now.
That's correct.
Let's do it.
It's time for The Wrap, presented by Sombrero Mexican Food. Check out their website at sombreromex.com.
How many home runs will Manny have all time with the Padres?
All right, so help me with the math. I'm just doing my phone. Here we go. So I say 360.
What do you don't know how to do math?
Okay, so I would say that's a little too much. I'm gonna say 340. 340 home runs.
So you think that he'll hit another 176, maybe?
So there are 6 seasons of 30. Okay, it's probably a lot. I'll go 300. 300 home runs total as a Padre.
No, he's hitting more than that. If he hits 20 a year for the next 9 years, that's 180. What's 180 plus 164? That's what he's going to hit at least.
344.
That's a minimum.
Okay, fine.
He falls out of bed at 29 home runs.
Fine, 344 is a good number. You're right.
Thank you. 344 will be the number.
345. Price is Right rules.
He might hit 500 as a Padre.
501. Price is Right rules.
Next question.
Will Yu Darvish start a game for the Padres in the wild card round?
We haven't talked about it like at all today, but Yu Darvish was great last night.
I thought he was good.
I thought he was okay. I'll go with really good.
Okay.
Gave up 2 solo shots, pitched 5 innings, 60, I think 3 pitches.
Yeah, it was low total, yes.
5 strikeouts, no walks. I probably could have gone longer, but you're still building him up here. I thought his stuff looked really good. I think that's a great sign that nobody's talking about right now is how great Yu Darvish, in my opinion, looked last night. Again, it's who's pitching the best at the end of the season and how the rotation lines up heading into the final weekend of the year in Arizona and, the wild card series. We also have an update here after the wrap. We'll get to the rotation for this weekend versus the Giants has just been announced. So we can start seeing maybe how things are lining up for the rest of the season. But at this moment in time, I will say no.
At this moment in time, I would also likely say no, because he would slot in behind in some order. King, Musgrove, Cease.
You also know why also is he might pitch one of the final 2 games of the year. And that would knock him out.
Yeah, but that's with intent.
I know. That's what I mean. So it's not like they chose it, but they're saying, all right, these games are like playoff games. We need to clinch home field. So you pitch one of those 2 games, and then you're obviously out for the wild card. Then you pitch game 1 of the DS if you get that.
Sophie's choice, good problem, whatever you want to say. Someone's not going to pitch in a 3-game series as a starter among those 4 starters. Someone won't. So who's the most likely candidate not to? I went down the path of thinking Darvish would start in a wild card series because it's Yu Darvish, but he's only going to have 4 or 5 starts under his belt, and it's only been 2 so far. So he still has probably some stuff to prove in his final 3 starts to earn a start in that series. That's how I look at it. Because these other guys have been pretty good. Not necessarily Dylan Cease, but Musgrove and King have been really good. Next question.
If Hassan Kim returns, should he go back to being the team's starting shortstop?
As opposed to defensive replacement pinch hitter?
No.
He should not be the starting shortstop.
No.
So he should be the bench piece?
Yeah. Solano has a better bat. I don't think that Hassan Kim's defense is like that far and away better than Xander Bogaerts. Can you turn down the music just a tad bit? Sorry.
I like it.
I don't think his defense is that better than Xander Bogaerts, truly. So, no.
That is a tough question. Knowing everything that I know about Mike Schilt, it's not a question of whether he should or not. It's a question of whether he will or not return to short. And I think because of the Mike Schilt way, if he's healthy, I think he's the shortstop. Now, I don't know if we're going to see him again. That's the bigger concern because they said 10 days. It's now been like 25.
He can't throw across the diamond. And he can't throw across
the diamond. He's not with him on the road trip, and he's not returning until at least the next homestand. So, should he? Arguable. Will he? I think if he's healthy, I think he will actually be their shortstop because that's the Mike Schilt way. Next question.
Are you guys concerned about Robert Suarez?
No.
Sweary.
Well, the thing is, after last night, he looked really good, and it's because he got a lot of rest. And I think a lot of people were very concerned about Robert Suarez, his last outing where he gave up that grand slam. And so, are you still concerned after what you saw last night? A couple of days of rest does the body good, and his command was really good last night. And he did something that he hasn't done in over a month, John. That is strike out multiple batters in an appearance. So, to me, that's a good sign because he doesn't have a crazy high strikeout total this year for how many innings he's pitched. I feel fine with Sweary. I really do.
Yeah, I do too. Concern's probably a strong word. Will I be quote unquote concerned in a 3-2 game?
Well, yeah, of course.
But that's just how living on the edge is. The one concern I would have is he hasn't been quote unquote clean. When's the last time he had an outing with no base runners? Even last night, he allowed a base hit.
Yeah. No.
And again, now it's that's still good. He didn't allow a run. But his last outing with no base runners was, and how often has that occurred, let's say, in his last 15 appearances? 1 time? 2 times?
You want to know when his last time he had a outing with no base runners, John?
Sure.
Okay. Let me see here. August 25th.
Which is how many outings ago?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is 8. So it's seven outings ago.
So if you told me in 7 consecutive outings in the postseason he's going to allow a base runner, I would tell you that he's going to blow a save or two.
Probably. Yeah.
That's what the math would support.
That outing.
Even before then, Jim, was he going clean before then?
So August 25th, 1 inning clean.
Mm-hmm.
August 20th, 1 inning clean.
Okay. So maybe it's been these
August
last 6,
10th,
7 innings.
1 inning clean.
Okay.
August 3rd, an inning clean. July 30th, clean. 21st, clean. 10th, clean. He's not like this.
I don't know.
Helter skelter type of reliever where you're just every outing, oh my god. It's just not. I trust Robert Suarez. He was born 4 saves for them. He had really bad outings last night. Yeah. Who's super confident anytime with a 1-run lead in a postseason series, even if you had Mariano Rivera out there or Trevor Hoffman?
Well, those players would give you confidence, but your point, it doesn't mean it's a guarantee. All right. On the other side, the latest on Danny O'Neill. Will he start Saturday against Cal in Berkeley? Plus the Padres rotation for San Francisco this weekend next.
All right, this update's brought to you by Taco Bell. Padres and Mariners, final game of a 2-game series. 6:40 up in Seattle. Michael King on the mound for the Padres. Scores around baseball that affect the Padres today. The Mets beat the Blue Jays 6-2. Arizona beat the Texas Rangers 14-4. And right now, the Braves and Nationals are playing in Washington. The Nationals lead the Braves 4-1, top of the 8th inning there. That's a big game if the Braves lose. The new Lux Cravings box from Taco Bell with cheesy, crunchy favorites, chips, and nacho cheese sauce, and a drink for just $7. Try it today at participating Taco Bell stores for limited time only while supplies last. Price and participation vary. Drinks exclude freezes, taxes extra.
Football against Cal Saturday, 3-game at 5:30, kickoff at 7:30. If you're looking for more Aztecs coverage, Thursday night tomorrow at 6. The Sean Lewis Show with me and Rich right here on San Diego Sports 760. Which is a good segue to this. Who's starting at quarterback for the Aztecs? Danny O'Neal, freshman starter, was nicked up in that loss to Oregon State. Now, Kirk Kenney at the UT attended a press conference after Wednesday's practice, and Sean Lewis saying this, direct quote, he's slowly improving, talking about Danny O'Neal. We'll know more by the end of the week. So I guess it still isn't fully determined in terms of who would it be if he didn't start between A.J. Duffy and Javance Johnson. He said, we'll see as we go. It's always been next man up. We're kind of working through the competition. We'll see as they continue to go through the week. So that's kind of an interesting dynamic at play. Again, the Aztecs taking on Cal on the road for the first road game of the season. They've used Danny O'Neal for these first 2 games. Will he be, healthy enough to go, so to speak, come Saturday night? Hopefully we'll know more by Thursday or Friday for Saturday's game.
And talking to Justin today, the play-by-play voice of Cal football, like the defense is the strength of Cal.
Yep.
And this is Danny O'Neal's first road game in college as a true freshman. Going up against that defense and potentially being limited because of an injury, and you're also dealing with a lot of, things that the team is working through offensively as well. You're not a well-oiled machine yet by any stretch. You have a lot of things you're working on. One of them cutting down on all the penalties and getting the cohesiveness together and playing a lot of football together, which you haven't done yet. I don't know, man. If you're not 100%, I don't know if I would play him, truthfully. But I saw him play that entire game pretty much on Saturday injured, and he's a competitor. He wants to be out there. It's going to be a tough game for him. If he's limited at all, if he shows any signs of limitation at all in that game, I think you got to do the right thing. And especially if they're struggling in the game and they can't move the football, he's getting hit a lot, then you got to make the choice like, hey, we can't.
Danny O'Neal saying about the Oregon State game, I wasn't coming out of the game. There's been a few times where I've gotten a little bit banged up, but if it's up to me, I'm not coming out. So we'll see, I guess is the only way to really look at it. And by the way, today he was wearing a thigh-to-calf black brace. So a thigh-to-calf black brace. And Kenny writes, he's more streamlined than the bulky brace he had been wearing Saturday night. This is on his left. Less bulky, but thigh-to-calf, less bulky brace.
Remember, as a true freshman, he's undersized, and he's never been hit before. He would never got hit like this in high school.
Right.
He's going up against guys that,
yeah,
it's just his body's
Power
not
5.
His body's not used to it. Sure. His body's, as far as football.
And the other thing to consider is that if he didn't play this weekend, they don't play next week.
Yeah, so it's a long time.
Yeah, and so they're not going to 3 weeks.
Yeah.
So, it's something to consider. The other thing is, I don't know if it would be Javance Johnson or AJ Duffy. Javance Johnson, who came into the first game, he handed off by large 20 or 30. He's got a dual threat skill set. So does Danny. I mean, they're running an RPO offense. So that dual threat matters, obviously. So I think it would be interesting to see. I mean, if Danny can't go, get the job done. I think first and foremost, you like to have your starter in as many games as possible. That's how the sport works.
Yeah.
But if he can't go, to your point, then he can't go.
And I can already see it now with if Javance Johnson or AJ Duffy were out there.
Right.
And you know I'm going with this.
What? And they play well.
And they play well, and they put up some points, and hell, maybe they win the game.
Good problem.
But
if you win a game with someone else, but then you open up.
Yep. I don't know if I mean, the goal of the program right now is to be better. You're not in a situation where you're like Alabama or Texas, where their main goal is national championship. There's building blocks that have to happen. So I know everyone would want to get a win, like the development of certain players and teams is important. And if you go to Wisconsin or you got back to Daniel Neal here, or you guys, for the development and building blocks of the program, or do you want to prioritize? Hey,
hard to answer. It's so dependent on the way it plays out. Because Saturday night, we'll see if we know more on Daniel Neal later in the week before Saturday. All right, Padres will be in San Francisco after tonight. They're off Thursday. We have the rotation for the Padres in the Bay. The Padres are in the Bay?
Yeah.
I'm in the Bay. Well, yeah. Well, I haven't been in. I've been outside. You don't think it's a sellout? But by the time I get there and yada yada, maybe. Who would I see if I went for an NHL?
What do you mean?
Who would be pitching?
Oh, Friday night.
I don't mean like for the Padres.
I can see my brother. He can go with you.
Perfect. You can talk Lakers. Yeah. Right.
Dylan Cease is on Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
Joe Musgrove's on Saturday, and Martin Perez is on Sunday.
So Perez, who's on the paternity list, will be back to pitch Sunday.
Correct. So if I'm just looking at the schedule here, John, Monday, you're probably going to have obviously not probably you will.
Monday is at home against Houston. Yeah. And Tuesday then would be Michael King.
So Houston series is looking like it's going to be Darvish, King, Cease.
Yeah, that's right.
And then you have the off day there. And then you can go the White Sox. If you really want, you can go Joe, Darvish, King. And you have the off day there. And then you can go Cease, Musgrove, Darvish for the Dodger series.
You're trying to limit the fifth spot. You're saying with the off day.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then for the final series of the year, you would have
all bets are off on that.
All bets are off. So Martin Perez would have to pitch one of the final 6 games.
Right, because you play 6 games that day. So if not him, someone would come. The other thing to consider is you just kind of like use someone in your system to come up and make a start.
Or if you, I mean, that's the thing here is where are you going to put Martin Perez in the final 6 games of the year? That's the question right now, because you're going to have everybody be lined up to pitch. And where do you put Martin Perez? Who do you have?
Well, likely the final day of the regular season. Why? Depending on whether you use it or not, because then you're not using the other 4 in advance of a 3-game series. Right. So nobody would be on short rest of the other 4.
Okay.
So, but again, that's dependent on have they clinched home field, if they not, are they in, are they out?
The perfect scenario is that Sunday means absolutely nothing.
You can pitch whomever. Yeah, I agree. I go there and pitch. That's not a terrible idea, but it's not a good. All right, on the other side, we do have Jim's back page, but call right now if you want 2 free tickets. We promise you tickets to see John Party Saturday, September 21st at the North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. First caller to 877-767-4760 is going. John Party, not this Saturday, next Saturday, North Island Credit Union Amphitheater. If you want those tickets, first caller, 2 free tickets, 877-767-4760. Call right now. It's John and Jim. Hey guys, it's Schaefer. We do have great news for homeowners. Mortgage rates tanking. My friends at Loan Pronto have rates to start with a 4. Truly the best rate in years. And listen, if your current rate's over 6%, you can dump it and lower your house payment big time. Loan Pronto has locked in folks recently at 4.99% APR. Maybe you got stuck with your loan in the last couple of weeks or couple of months or within the last year. It's time to call Loan Pronto. Even if you're in the process right now with another lender, stop now and call Loan Pronto. You can ask about their zero-cost rate reduction home loan. You can lock in a lower rate with no closing costs in a matter of days with almost no paperwork and usually no appraisal. And if you act now, you can even skip your next not 1 but 2 house payments. Call now. Loan Pronto can give you a rate quote in minutes with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees like those other guys. Here's the number, 619-207-4336 or loanpronto.com, 619-207-4336. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, on approved credit, NMLSconsumeraccess.org. The results of my highly scientific poll. Will Manny Machado one day have a statue at Petco Park, Jim? 281 votes. It's going final.
Yes.
What do you think Padsres fans would say?
I'm going to say yes.
Overwhelmingly, 83% of those polled, aka Padres fans, say he will have a statue one day at Petco Park.
Another scientific poll that we put out on Jon and Jim
about water.
Do you use a filter or a Brita to drink your water at home? 67% say yes, they do.
That's a huge number.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny, for our podcast description for that hour, I put, we talk Watergate. No, not that Watergate.
Not that one. I like that.
We talk water.
2 and 3 use a Brita.
Yeah, here you go, man. It's gonna change
I
your
need
life.
that.
It's gonna literally.
We'll use that tonight on the wrap-up show.
Now, did you get the pitcher or the one that you put on your faucet?
It's a pitcher.
Okay, that's the one. That's what I have too.
Yeah,
because you can get the ones that screw right onto your faucet.
The faucets are hard because you have to have a certain type of faucet. Like, they have one of the snake ones where like the pulls out.
And you know me, I don't know how to do that.
And I have the same one, and I can't. That's why we got the literally just water cooler,
which
is pretty cool.
More water talk tonight on the wrap-up show if you want to join.
Yeah. Yay.
Fun. All right, let's get to it.
So every year, obviously, they have new Apple products launch, and they do like the beginning of September is usually like the big Apple event.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like recently, John, the Apple events have just not hit like they used to because it's all the same stuff. It's just like different stuff inside the product that changes, not the actual product itself.
Here's the problem. They've thought of everything cool.
Pretty
the
much.
iPhone was pure brilliance. The MP3 player was pure brilliance.
Mm-hmm.
The watch is pretty good. The AirPod things are great. Can I quickly tell you this before you say what you're going to say? The AirPods are coming out with. Hear me out. The new padded AirPod Pro. When you put them in, so I looked at this last night, it'll give you a hearing test and tell you if you have mild or like moderate hearing loss, and then it will like adjust your ear volume to deal with your hearing loss, and it'll act as a hearing aid.
Yeah, that was in my.
Well, I don't care about that. Well, it's pretty cool.
All the new things that have come out
I think that's cool
at the Apple event that was the other day, they unveiled the new iPhone 16, iPhone 16 Pro, iPhone 16 Pro Max, plus the iPhone Plus. And what they're doing is making the iPhone Pro unavailable to purchase now with the release of the 16 Pro. Because they're essentially the same phone, same build, same everything, just different like stuff inside the phone.
And did you see all the AI capabilities, by the way?
Oh, there's a million AI capabilities on that phone.
That's the main thing. It's all AI.
Yeah. It will be it's also going to be Apple's first phones equipped with Apple Intelligence, allowing users to create custom emojis. Pre-orders for phones will be available starting on Friday.
Are you interested? Well, you just bought a phone.
I just bought iPhone 15 Pro.
I have 14.
Which of course I did, and of course they just came out with a new one.
And you're so mad.
I'm fine with it though. What you just mentioned, the Apple AirPods 4, the AirPods Pro 2, and the AirPods Pro Max. You went over that. They also came out with the new iWatch, John, the Apple Watch Series 10 and Apple Watch Ultra 2, featuring the thinnest design ever. The new Apple Watch Series 10 offers the largest display of any of the company's watches. So you can buy this for a total of $10,000.
No, $1 million. Can I give you one feature that I think is cool? And this is where AI is heading. But like, when you can make a note on your recorder, you'd be like, hey, call mom, call dad, I got to do my taxes. It'll like generate summaries of transcripts. You could just record a meeting and it'll generate a summary. Like the AI capabilities with Apple, I feel like are going to be completely through the roof with the phone. That's my guess.
It probably is going to be a little wonky at first.
Maybe at first, yeah.
But in a couple of years, it's going to probably be
writing emails for you.
I'd rather almost just have, I guess, what we almost refer to now as a boring iPhone, opposed to like, they play that commercial for that Google phone where like its big option is, hey, you can take a picture and then put stuff that's not in the picture. So, hey, if you're ugly, you can make yourself pretty in pictures or put flowers. And it's just like
the catfish
phone. Yeah. It's like, that's not like a real selling point for me, is that, I can take fake pictures with my phone now.
I just want, with my phone, a really good camera, it to be fast, good battery life, and
phone calls.
Here's what I want. I always want the latest.
I know
you're right. Like your phone's great, but guess what? The new one looks better.
I know. It's the same thing.
It's the exact same thing.
It's the exact
same
same
way
phone.
They market it and dress it up and package
but
it.
It's the exact same.
But it's got
phone.
Apple Intelligence.
Oh,
you know you want it.
Chipotle announced
has the ghost of Steve Jobs in it.
The return of a very top requested menu item, John.
Okay.
They announced the return of smoked brisket. It will return to participating restaurants nationwide. Quote, we are listening to our guests and bringing this fan favorite menu item out of the vault after 3 years. The premium protein is sure to delight guests looking to taste the difference of brisket prepared the Chipotle way.
Chipotle brisket.
The menu item.
Didn't know they had it.
Yeah.
It was in stores in 2021 up until 2022 and has not been in stores for a couple of years. But I didn't know they had smoked brisket. I'm down with some smoked brisket. Give me some smoked brisket, man.
Okay.
I don't know. I feel like Chipotle would ruin it though, because they'll put pico on it or something, because that's what Chipotle.
But you don't
does.
like onions.
Yeah, but that's
or
the
tomatoes.
thing. That's kind
I know that's what pico is.
I know.
They put it on everything.
Yeah, I think most people are into it.
Most people. And finally, Crumble Cookie is testing 2 new desserts this week.
It's our weekly update.
Yeah.
There we go. Crumble
Daily.
Cookie. I mean, it's almost like a daily update.
Come on, sales, get us a sponsorship.
Because they literally come out with new crumble. Seriously, I mean, hi, Crumble Cookie.
Send an email.
We love you. Here are the 2 new Crumble Cookie items, which will likely be released nationwide soon. Currently, they're being tested. The Candy Cane Brownie. It's a brownie with frosting, white chocolate, dark chocolate, and candy cane flakes.
Oh, flakes? Yeah, I could see that.
No,
not candy cane
yeah,
flavor.
I'm not a
but
big
like
mint
flakes.
guy. If it's
just flakes,
subtle,
it's okay.
yeah, I can deal with that.
And then the French silk pie,
which entails
vanilla, I assume.
It's a French silk pie. I don't know exactly what.
I would assume it's vanilla, because it's like when they refer to like
it's actually
French vanilla ice cream. So
it looks like a chocolate pie with a like chocolate crumble with whipped cream and chocolate shaving. How is it called Crumble Cookie when everything they released there is like the most amazing items ever that aren't cookies?
Well, they got to branch out. You can't just do cookies.
I know.
You know, Nike doesn't.
I want
just sell
crumble
shoes.
cookies so bad.
I know you do. By the way, make sure to catch a busy weekend of live sports this weekend on San Diego Sports 760, 9 a.m. Number 4 Alabama travels to Camp Randall to take on Wisconsin, followed by San Diego State Cal at 5:30 Saturday. Then we have an NFL doubleheader Sunday starting at 9:30 a.m. Raiders Ravens and Rams Cardinals at 1:05 p.m. If you missed anything today, sportssd.com, iHeartRadio app, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. We're on social at Jon and Jim. For Brent and Jim, I'm John. Keep it here at San Diego Sports 760. Peace out. Bye. Bye. No.